Hey guys, what's going on? This is John Fears. Welcome back to Fears Man 26. I have the myth, the woman, the legend, the one and only Dorothy Gale, aka Steph Twomey. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. This interview, guys, has been a long time coming. I've been wanting to write you for months. And I was a little nervous. Because I was like, well, she doesn't know me. I'm like, will she say yes? Will she not say yes? I'm like, I know her schedule is just crazy. A lot of Autumn of Oz stuff, a lot of Dorothy Gale, a lot of interviews. It's all right. So I was like, whenever you said yes, I was honored.
Thank you for asking me. I always love talking about Oz, and it's cool to meet people who are as passionate about it as me and the team are. So
I
quite an honor for me.
I love what your team's done. I love the whole park. I love the whole idea. When I was preparing for this interview last night, I watched every single one of your TikToks, and I watched as many Land of Oz videos as I could. I stayed up. I watched from about 6 to about 1, and then I went.
Oh my God!
So I fully prepared. I noticed that you did a bunch of interviews and like I don't know what your guys' local news thing is, but I saw a bunch and people were overjoyed. And I know like in the 70s, it burnt down a little bit and then they revamped it. And I was like, well, thank God they saved either a portion of the park or some of the park.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I've got to find out about this amazing woman. So thank you for checking out my channel. I really appreciate it. So I prepared some questions. So I told my fans, I said, guys, you know me, whenever I interview people, I said, I fully prepare. So I prepared some questions, and then we're going to take some questions from the fans, and then we're going to bounce some questions off each other. Like, we're going to make some up. So you can make some up and ask me. I can make some up about you, but let's do my prepared questions first. So,
cool.
So first question, how did you get into like not only Land of Oz, but how did you get into like being a content creator? Like, where did it all start? The origins. Let's start with the origins.
Yes. So Land of Oz, I would say all of it is just tied together and kind of has been. I started as a huge Wizard of Oz fan just from childhood. You know, like most Wizard of Oz fans out there.
Oh, yes.
Like, I saw the movie when I was probably about 3 years old and then just loved it ever since. And it was one of those things where I asked my mom, I'm like, you were probably waiting for me to kind of like outgrow the phase. And she kind of is like, you know, I just kind of kept rolling with it. And she was like, it was nice to not have your interest change every 2 seconds. But anyway, so kind of after I grew up, around, I would say probably 7 or 8 years ago, my childhood friend sent an article along to me and was like, oh, this cool Wizard of Oz theme park, it's abandoned. And I'm like, what the heck? So obviously I started doing research into it and found out not only is it not abandoned, but it was fully running in terms of like having one event a year. So they had their June tours or something like that. And then they had the Autumn at Oz event.
Yeah.
So naturally, the next year I was right there. I went and I attended as a guest, and I remember I like made my own shoes for it, like took these like, white canvas Keds and put glitter and everything on it.
Guys, it's a big deal. I mean, when I was preparing, people go nuts over this, and I mean, the thousands. I'm not even exaggerating. Not hundreds, not thousands, hundreds of thousands of people show up. And I was like, this is amazing. I haven't went yet, but it's on the to-do list.
Yes, it is. You definitely have to go because it is like so, it's honestly, even then, this was, again, like I would say when I went as a guest, God, I used to have these years memorized and I'm like, it's been so long. But like 7 years ago or so, I went as a guest and it was like the best thing ever. You know, I loved it. And, the very next year, I ended up reaching out to the park and was like, can I be Dorothy? And they were like, I mean, like, do you have like a headshot, a resume? Like, so I auditioned and then they emailed me back and they were like, well, are you willing to dye your hair? And I was like, Yes. Are you kidding me?
I would be like, look, I'll chop off my left arm. Just let me play Dorothy.
Yes.
Like I love Dorothy, but my favorite character is the Scarecrow. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, that's my favorite. So
I don't know if your chopped left arm reference was, and I can't remember if it's the left or the right, but was in reference to the guy up above you.
Oh, yeah.
The Star Wars reference?
Yeah, I'm a big Star Wars nerd. You got James, you got Darth Vader, and then you got James Bond. So yeah.
Yes. We'll get to the Star Wars in a minute. But
yes.
All that said, it was kind of like full circle. So I started doing my first year at the park was my director's first year, fully taking over.
Okay.
And what he has done since then is just incredible. I mean, I think to say the park itself was still kind of on that growing since what happened in the 70s. Mm-hmm. And then, you have people who are really passionate about the park from a personal standpoint because it was really important to them when they went as children. And then to have that teamed with, Sean, who just is so passionate about Oz itself as well. And, L. Frank Baum and the books and the story, kind of just took it up to that next level that is kind of what it is today and still growing. So it's really been incredible to be part of that experience from the ground, I guess, up.
So you said 7 years ago. So about what age did you start?
That's a great question.
You don't remember?
I don't know. I mean, Dorothy's 16. So, I mean, I've just been really sticking at 16 for a few years there.
Oh, there you go. I understand. Listen, John is 39. So I say that I'm always 31. So I like to stay at 31. No,
I know. I like to say like around the 23 age, because I feel like then you're kind of like, okay, I'm not 16, but I'm not like 45. You know what I mean?
Because when I was preparing, I was like, okay, like when I never asked a woman her age, but I was like, I want to know when she started.
Yes.
Oh, but if you can't remember, that's fine. So next.
Well, I remember, but for the sake of keeping the magic, I won't tell anybody.
Exactly. So when you started, were they just? My next question is: so everyone, when I was preparing my research, was it it didn't say what type of fire, was it an electrical fire that pretty much destroyed over half the park?
I'm not 100% sure. And I mean, as you probably discovered, there are rumors regarding such fire.
I couldn't find an exact reason. Like online, it said an electrical fire. Then I read another article, and it said that some crazed fan came in and said, "I don't like Wizard of Oz. I'm gonna light it on fire." And so I read about not one, not two guys, but 20 rumors, and I said, you know what? Steph will know. She works there. I'll ask her.
So part of what the allure to the park is, I think, is its mystery. We talk a lot about this just kind of in general between us trying to figure out what happened. Mm-hmm. I think that there are people on Beach Mountain who I'm sure know. At the same time, I don't think we'll ever know the answer. Yeah. I think that, I mean, it's sad because there was different moments of, rumors that go around. And of course, I want to believe the best and say that, of course, it's an accident and stuff happens. And, thankfully, some things were saved from that fire. Some artifacts from the actual movie were saved. Mm-hmm. Some are now missing, including the Dorothy dress. But, I think that the true answer, I don't really know if we'll ever find out. Yeah. Which is kind of a bummer because I think there are some stuff that is still missing from that fire that would be so cool to have just from like a fan standpoint.
When I was preparing, I saw so many amazing photos, guys, of when the park was at its prime, and it looked amazing. Like they said, every single week, a new coat of paint on the Yellow Brick Road. Whether it needed it or didn't need it, I was like, that's great, that extra effort. Then it burns down. But you know what? Your team has done an amazing job. You guys have been revamping it from, you said 7 years ago to now. Yeah. And like, I've seen pictures of it now. Like, whenever I was watching that video of you getting interviewed, there was a waterfall in the back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that existed there or if they added that in. It looked fantastic. It looked amazing. So
I believe the waterfall is original.
Okay.
And that it actually was not functioning for many years. And then they were able to revamp it and fix it and get it up and running again. So
every year,
things like that.
Every year, do they keep revamping a little bit more of the park, or is the entire park now back to where it was?
So I think actually this is probably the first year since I started that our programming will stay for the most part similar. I think that there'll be little tweaks. We added another show last season or last year at the Witch's Castle. I believe we might be revamping a little bit of that. Every year we revamp some of the costuming just from natural wear and tear and, if there's an actor change. But I think last year was probably the last year for, that we'll see large changes to the programming.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because
I follow the Instagram of Land of Oz, and now I follow Steph. Every single picture, I've looked at every single picture on Land of Oz, and it's like pictures of the cast, pictures of guests and the cast. Then they put a picture and say, hey, we just revamped this. Like, we just fixed Annie M's house, and now the door was broken, and we fixed the main emerald, the green door that opens up. Like all that. And I was like, this is awesome. So before I lead into my next question, guys, when I was preparing, I sent Steph. I said, Steph, you don't have to, but I said a key thing for the Fierce podcast. I said, I always drink my coffee. So let's show off our mugs. So I got my Fierce Man one, and of course she's got her Land of Oz one.
Yeah.
And I loved what you said. You wrote back and said, John, I love coffee. That's cool. Let me grab my Land of Oz mug. I'm all about it. Let's do it. I went, oh, all right, let's do it then. So yeah.
The toughest one was which of my 8,000 Wizard of Oz mugs to pick. Thankfully, a large majority were in the dishwasher. So
at the end of this interview, guys, my fans know I will pick up the computer and I will go over to my cupboard here in my apartment and I will show you all of my nerd mugs. Yes. It is overflowing. I mean, I don't have a Land of Oz one. The key word is yet, but I will. So this leads into my next question. So how many years, I forgot to ask you when we were talking about Land of Oz, how many years has Land of Oz been up and running, and how many shows do they do a year? I know they do some shows in June, and then they do some main shows in the autumn fall season.
So we this will be our 30th year this year of Autumn at Oz. So that was when so Autumn at Oz is when they reopened the park after the 70s. It started as a reunion for the castmates from the 70s to just get back together and kind of celebrate. And then since then, it's kind of grown into what we know as the festival today. Yeah.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was your guys' 30 years. I thought this was like, they've been doing it for maybe, I guessed like last night when I was preparing, I said, maybe it's been open 5-10 years. I had no idea, guys, 30 years, 30.
So the cool part is that, we originally were doing, they call it June Journeys with Dorothy. They were really, really different than the Autumn at Oz experience. And I liked doing them from like a tour standpoint because it's a lot more personal with the guest. Yeah. But at the same time, it's so different and you don't really get the full experience that we decided to end those, I believe, after, I think, 2021, that was our last year of those, and then just focus on Autumn at Oz, which I do prefer because it's just not the same experience. And as much as you can tell people that ahead of time, I just don't think that people, people aren't always going to listen. But it was so fun, and you get so much more history of the park in those. Oh yeah. So the people who have done them, I think, come away with such a different experience that is really valuable for kind of a different reason. That being said, we now kind of do as much as we can of that in the Autumn at Oz, where we have, usually some sort of Autumn at Oz museum or Oz museum where you can kind of go in, learn more about the history, whether that be from...
The Autumn of Oz starts like in August and September and October.
So it's 3 weekends a year only. So it's super selective, or not selective. What do they call it? Not always easy to get tickets. We'll put it that way.
I would say selective if it's only 3 weekends. I mean,
yep.
I tried to get it last year, and a big like no sale sign popped up, and I was like, darn it.
I know. Definitely get them early. I believe our tickets are going on sale June 16th. So definitely do, like, if you are interested in going, 100% get tickets as soon as you can. And then the weekends.
June is when they start. Okay. All right.
Yep. June 16th is when they start. And then our weekends are going to be the 3 weekends in September, starting September 8th through the 10th, 15th through the 17th, and then the 23rd through the 24th. So nice. 3 weekends a year we're open, and it's a lot of building up to that for 3 weeks, and it's definitely a lot of fun for those 3 weeks.
Oh, I've seen the preparation videos. You guys get in that wardrobe department. I saw your videos. Takes like 2 hours on that hair, and then you put on the costume, then you throw on the wig. Hey, what's up, Larry? Good to see you. Anyway.
But yeah, actually, I was so we did like a meet and greet with the school last year with the cast, and one of the questions was, how long does it take for everybody to get ready? Like makeup and everything. Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, they're like, I mean, a half hour, 45 minutes. I'm like, what? I'm like, I literally do like my everyday makeup and like put a wig on and a hair, and I mean, do my hair and a dress on. And I'm like, it takes me like 2 hours sometimes.
Yeah. Which I thought was hilarious, because I'm like, the original cast, it would take them hours and hours and hours, like on the film. People would be sitting around. They couldn't even eat lunch. Like I read an interview where Bert, the guy that played the Scarecrow, if he like brushed his makeup, it would fall, like it would literally smear. So he had to like literally they would like make shakes for him, and he would like sip through a straw.
No, I will say we like for our costumes, like I feel bad for the Tin Mans because it's just tough. Like there's no way to make a Tin Man costume overly comfortable and still kind of look classic to the tradition that you want it to. It's just tough. And so the boys are such troopers. I mean, we will literally have like shakes for them. They're sipping out of straws, and all the time we're like, as cast members, we're checking each other, making sure like, oh, Scarecrow, your lips are coming off, or, you know, your lines are coming off, or Tin Man, got lipstick on your teeth, whatever it is.
Not much has changed, guys. From the 30s film, they were drinking shakes to Autumn of Oz. There we are. Hey, Bimbo, what's up? And then Smelly Old Man says, who's the pretty lady? The pretty lady is Steph Twomey, a.k.a. Dorothy. So we're just hanging out.
We're doing some awesome stuff.
So my next question, this is one of my prepared questions. You said a couple of Tin Mans. I know there's more than just one Dorothy. You're the main Dorothy, but how many, my next question is, how many Dorothys are there? How many Tin Man Scarecrows? I know you guys have to have multiple characters because you guys do multiple shows. So how many sets of characters does each character have?
So it kind of depends on the year and the programming. Typically around 3 for the boys, or for the friends, I should say, and then 4 usually for Dorothy.
Okay.
Again, it does depend, and a lot of times we do have understudy type situations where, because it is 3 weekends, I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. So it just kind of like, we always have people that are on hand. Like, I mean, there was one time last year where I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can. I'm like, I feel awful. I don't want to, whatever. And I mean, I was fine, but Sean's like, all right.
You guys do, out of those weekends, you guys do multiple shows a day in that weekend. So how many shows multiple a day in that weekend do you do?
So for Dorothy's, we do, we have an extra added. So the boys, or the friends, I need to start the friends.
All right. The boys, the guys, you're good.
Well, the friends, they switch out between Emerald City and Yellow Brick Road. And then Dorothy does Emerald City, Yellow Brick Road, and Kansas. So we usually have an extra Dorothy so that we can always have somebody able to go on break. Because we obviously want to give everybody breaks and make sure everybody has time to recuperate and rest. And it is a lot, especially when it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, Dorothy does 3 shows in Kansas, 3 shows on the Yellow Brick Road, and then a big show for Emerald City. And usually that rotation will do, depending on what your rotation is that day, like 2 or 3 rounds of that. And I mean, it's from like 10 a.m. probably is when a first show is going out. Probably 9 is when some of the guests are starting to come up. Don't quote me on that, but something like that. And then usually 5 is when we close. So we're round the clock doing shows.
10 to 5. That's a long day.
And that's usually like, we're usually starting to wind down at 5. So depending on where you land, like say if you're in Kansas last, okay, you'll end at 5. But if you're in the Emerald City last, then you're going to end at like 6 because the people coming through the park aren't going to get, and like, obviously we want to, part of being an actor is you want to make sure that everybody gets that experience. And so just because you're Emerald City that day, it's not, we always rotate too. So, but it's, usually they give us a lot of breaks, which is nice, but it's definitely long days.
Yes. Big shout out to my friend, Exhumed Vision, Steph. He's the one that actually made the mug for me. So
I love it.
Big shout out to Exhumed Visions. He's one of my #1 fans. He's been here since the very beginning of Fears Man and Fears Vlogs and the whole 9 yards. So bringing that up, Steph, guys, before said, Fears, I checked out some of your videos, so we're going to get into that. When you checked it out, which one did you check out first? Did you check out Fears Vlogs? Did you check out Fears Man? And
I think it was Fears Men that I checked out first. And then I actually got into the one that I was really into was the motorcycle one, or it's the one where you made 2 different cars.
Oh, it's been a long time. So
I was like, dang, this will also like, I don't know. I always
content. I'm going to have to remember, describe the video.
So there was 2 different, I forget what you called them. It was like, they're like little like motorcycle things that you were riding. And it was so cool. I was like, holy crap. How did you, and you were making it from, or you
was it a miniaturized motorcycle?
Yes.
Well, that's my brother. I made that video for my brother. I'm the artist of the family. And it was my brother in the video, probably riding the motorcycle. But
you had done the video. Anyways, that was so cool because I was like, dang, I like all this stuff. And then I watched your
we built it. I helped him build it, but he's more the mechanical guy and I'm more the artist. I'm the goat of the family. So yeah.
I love that. There was there was like a commercial that you made that was animated with the clover, the shamrock.
Oh yes. Yeah. So that's one of my favorite horror movies, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the most cheesiest horror movie ever. But in the movie, this little flashing shamrock comes up, and basically, have you ever seen Halloween 3?
Yes. Oh, it's been a minute.
But you know which one I'm talking about. That's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. My favorite horror movie of all time is the original classic Halloween with Michael Myers. But that's the 3rd one, and basically, the 3rd one, they were like, yeah, let's get away from Michael. I think we're done. And the fans were like, no, we like Michael. So it was a complete bomb. But now it's a cult classic. And basically, it was this evil toy maker. And he said, as soon as that commercial goes on and it starts flashing, it'll kill a bunch of kids.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So I recreated the Silver Shamrock commercial. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Also, if you like horror movies, have you ever seen Return to Oz?
Yes.
Great. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Love that movie.
10 out of 10. Okay. It's not really classified as a horror, but it's got a lot of horror aspects to it.
I just feel like and again, it's not like horror, but I feel like as far as like kids movies from the 80s go, it fits the bill of like just weird and creepy.
It's weird. It's creepy. Like when I was young, I was like, what is a wheeler? I have no idea what a wheeler is, but it's nuts.
Yeah. They're crazy.
They're like giggling laughs. And then the guy with the red hair, I'm like, this is kind of freaking me out. So yeah, but no. So those were the 2.
Those are the ones that I was like watching and I was like, dang, this guy's got some like, I mean, I like anything that is somebody who's into a niche market or something that they're into and like not afraid to really just dive in and just do the things that you want to do. So, I mean, that to me, I just was poking around and I liked that. And I don't know, I just really enjoy, like, I mean, obviously I lean into the Wizard of Oz nerd in myself, but like big, anything that's nerdy and kind of in the context of nerdy is like right down my alley.
I saw a bunch of nerdy videos. I was like, I'm glad that Steph is a fellow nerd. I'd say my top niches are anything horror any horror movie related. Any horror movie related, good or bad. I love cheesy horror movies that make me laugh. Anything Wizard of Oz, anything movie props. I love movie props.
Yes.
I have a whole bunch of movie props right over here. I'll show you at the end of the interview real quick because I have a whole like tray full of them. And then I'd say those. Oh, and then I love going to Comic-Con. Those are my 4 niches. Yeah. So this is an unscripted question. What's your 4? Like, give me your top 5 niches that are in your life.
Wizard of Oz. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, a little bit.
That's fine. You want all 5 of them. That's great.
So I definitely really like. I would say the Wizard of Oz is the biggest thing. Huge Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
Love Harry Potter. So like I'm a Ravenclaw. I would say I don't collect yet, but I definitely, it's not lost on me. And I've been very tempted. Like I'll have like Hogwarts gear. Mm-hmm. If the one thing, if you couldn't tell from my videos, one of the biggest things I love is like clothing. I like to do Oz fits.
I saw it. I saw you come in. It was like a big, like you had music going. You come in, you're like, I'm gonna model my Wizard of Oz jacket. You were doing poses. I was like, this is great. This is great.
Yes, I love my Oz fits.
Check out this. I mean, you were doing the moves, man. And the jacket is actually right behind you. That's the jacket.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I do have like a whole little setup there with all my jackets and everything. So, but yeah, so I do have some like Harry Potter stuff. My boyfriend that's like our crossover is Harry Potter and his is Star Wars. So I have a cat named Toto.
Nice.
And he has our other cat and dog. We have a black cat named Darth Vader.
Nice.
And a white husky Stormtrooper. So they have Darth, Storm, and Toto.
Awesome.
So
I'm a big Star Wars fan too.
Yes. So
that's an original painting. Someone painted that for me.
Oh, holy crap! Really?
Yes.
Dang, that's sweet.
So a friend of mine just said, John, just give me a character. Give me a character. I was like, Darth Vader, of course. She goes, give me about 2 weeks, and then she just fumbled through some articles. Like she found some pictures. So it's not just one picture. She said, yeah, I looked at like 5 or 6 different pictures of Darth Vader and kind of molded it into that.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I said, it will stay on the wall. It'll always be on the wall. It's not going to move off the wall forever. It'll be right there. So yeah.
I love that.
And you're going to laugh. I'm a Ravenclaw too.
Yes, work.
I as soon as you said that, I'm like, she's going to think I'm going to say that just because we became friends now. I swear I'm a Ravenclaw. Visions, I've said that to you a bunch of times. So yeah. So the first 2 you said you like Star Wars, you like Harry Potter, and then Land of Oz. You got one more niche.
In terms of, I don't know. I'm like, I mean, does it have to be a movie or?
No, it's just whatever you're into. I'm just trying to get to know Steph. What's her 4?
I guess the other thing would probably be yoga or puzzles. Like I'm a big puzzler, and then I'm a yoga teacher in my kind of off days. So
I was like, that's probably going to come up at some point. I'm like,
yes,
he does yoga and then some, guys, but that's good. That's good. I tried yoga in college, and man, did my body hurt.
Yeah.
Like guys, it's better for girls, I think. Like I just go to the gym 3 times a week. I'll stick with the gym, but I was trying to impress a girl too. I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, it'll be easy. It'll be easy. Fears, just get in there. And she's like, you ready, John? I'm like, oh, I'm ready. Let's do it. And by the end of it, I was like, she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. She goes in the bathroom. I'm like on the side of like the wall, and I'm like breathing heavy. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, she kicked my ass. Yeah. And then she pops out. I'm all like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm good.
It's fine. We're fine.
And the funny thing is, it didn't even work out. So when I got home, my friend's like, hey, John, did it work out? I'm like, no, it didn't. I said she went back to her bubble butt boyfriend. And I said, now I'm just here by myself alone and my bones are aching. Awesome.
Hey, that's all right. I will say it's like yoga is one of those things that is, I tried sports my whole life. You know, it was kind of the thing to do as everybody when they're younger, and I just hated sports, was so bad at them. And when I found yoga, it was like the first time I could do anything in terms of like, it was the first time I worked out without just experiencing like straight anxiety. And so to me, that's why I love it. But it's definitely one of those things where it's like, whatever you find that you like, that makes you kind of just get outside of your four walls and go out there and just like move your body in a healthy way. Great. That's all that matters.
Actually, I've been trying to get back into health. Like I used to be skinny mini, and then I don't know if you knew this. I don't think I told you before, but my dad passed away last September. So I kind of ate my feelings, and now I'm getting try to like back into shape. So it's been a hard year, but I mean, I just focus on my content. Visions has a question for you. He says, do you teach online yoga? That would be fun for you. You know what, Visions? I tried yoga. I'm good. I'll just stick to working out. I'll let Steph be in charge of that.
I don't. So I actually teach, it's called hot yoga. So basically it's in a room that is like 105 degrees.
That was the one I tried. That's the reason why I kicked my ass so much.
Yes. So it is so tough, especially if you start that, like your first class, you're always going to be like, what the heck did I just do? That is crazy. So I don't teach anything online yet per se, but.
It was so funny. I kid you not, Steph. It was something out of a movie. She goes into the bathroom. I'm like, what the hell did I get into? She comes out and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, are you good, John? I'm like, I'm good. I'm good, babe.
Hey, you tried it. That's all that matters.
I tried it. Oh, man. I was dripping with sweat. It was a good workout. But for everybody out there, just try it before you go in. Try normal yoga before you go into that. So, yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, I like all those niches in your life. I was like, well, now that me and Steph are friends, whenever I interview somebody, I always try to get to know them, and doing all this content stuff. I love like doing collab videos. I love doing things. So I can always use a new friend. So that's why I've been dying to do this interview. I was like, I want to be Steph's friend. She seems so cool.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Right back at you.
So I'm glad that we are friends now, and I finally got enough courage to write you. So yeah. That's what I found out. I didn't know about the Land of Oz until, let's see, how long have I been following it? Probably for about a year now.
Okay, cool.
And it just the Instagram page, their Instagram page just popped up. I was following my friend, and you know how you get like suggestive things? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it got suggested because on my Instagram, I uploaded like I bought some red Chucks, and then I just labeled them, hey guys, check out my ruby Chucks. And so a couple weeks later after I posted that stuff, it just popped up and said, check out Land of Oz. And I was like, okay, I checked it out and I was like, wow, I don't know what this is, but I'm following that right away. And ever since I posted those red Chucks, I've been obsessed with like the Land of Oz. So one of these days I'm going to make the trip down.
You definitely should. It's, if nothing else, just being the location of it, being on the mountain, like you really enter just this new almost realm. I kind of say that, but like it is a really magical place. The park is literally on top of a ski mountain. So you can take the chairlift up. And I mean, it's kind of, if you, I don't know if you've ever been skiing or snowboarding. It's like when you're on the mountain, you kind of just feel different. Yeah. You're kind of like, you get up there and it just is, it hits different. I mean, imagine that, but kind of you're at a theme park of like something that's a magical land. Mm-hmm. And it just really, it's it's awesome. I mean, my boyfriend.
I've actually done both. I've done skiing and snowboarding.
Oh, really?
Skiing, I was a lot better at. Snowboarding, I was horrible at. So,
yeah.
what about you? Have you done both?
I've only skied. I haven't tried snowboarding other than like when you're younger, you know, you have like I grew up in Massachusetts. So, you know, you'd be sledding and you have like the snowboards that you slip your feet into. And I always, terrible.
Now, I know you live in Tennessee. So when you prepare to go to Land of Oz, do you just stay down there for those 3 weekends?
So I didn't used to. This will be my first year staying for all 3 weekends. The last 2 years, I would drive back and forth every weekend. It's 5.5 hours. And I would work during the week and then come back and work during the weekend. And both years that we did 3 weekends, by the end of it, I got sick. So.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you feel better now. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was like, just had a cold. You know what I mean? It wasn't like.
I guess it was worth it, though, because you get so many, like I was saying, like, since you're a content creator, you make so many memories, so many contacts because you never know what that content will, that content or that contact will lead to. Like, hey, I saw you as Dorothy. Do you mind coming on the news? She's been on the news, guys. I literally like whenever I prepare for an interview, I was tired. I started watching videos from 6 to 1, and I said, all right, I need to get some sleep because I've got church tomorrow and I've got this interview tomorrow. So I need to get some
Thank
sleep.
you.
But yeah, my next scripted question is after you guys complete those 3 weekends, what does the park work on throughout the whole year after you guys are done with those 3 weekends?
So Sean will be working on literally everything down to like merch for the next year.
Okay.
Before this year has even ended.
Okay. And I would assume while you guys are gone, like, do they maintain the park throughout the year?
Yeah. So that's kind of also been a big thing is like finding a way to maintain the park that is accessible while we are not there. And for many years, like that's what took so much effort. Like Sean doesn't live there. And we have somebody who now lives on site for like security purposes, which is awesome. And she's always been involved and she's great. And so she will be there. And now we have somebody that has started to come in on our team who will live up on the mountain and actually be kind of like the property manager, if you will. I mean, he's so much more. He does more than I can even imagine, but that's kind of part of his job now. So it makes coming on site in August or like all summer we'll be coming for a few times throughout the summer. Like I'll go once a month or so starting in May. And then I know Sean will be on site for all of like August, September and all that. But like before we had a lot of that in place, I just remember the team would come and like be up 24/7 to just get everything ready, get everything looking nice and like putting everything together. Thankfully,
I know the merch store is pretty new because I saw a video on the Land of Oz where they had like a yellow piece of tape and they said, we're finally ready to open up the merch store. And then they cut the tape. And then I guess Sean was the guy talking. I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That are the owners, Paige and Carter.
Yeah.
And Marie. And the family who owns the park is awesome. They are super involved, which is great. And like love the event and everything. So
nice.
Great too.
So my next question leads into that. Do they do like, since like the park's closed, has anyone ever like fans or anyone have ever called the park and said, hey, I'd like to get a private tour, or hey, I want to ask someone to be married, you know, like, do they do that kind of stuff like throughout the whole year?
So not yet, is what I'll say. I, being a huge fan, obviously like totally understand the appeal of having your wedding or whatever at the park. We just don't have the infrastructure and the kind of manpower at this point to be doing that fully, I would say. As much as, you know, I think we all wish, at the same time, it is like the weather is honestly a huge factor in just anything up there. It like last year, we even experienced it during our event. It used to be in October, and we ended up pushing. That was like before, I would say like 7 years ago, it was in October. And the weather was so unpredictable by then that we had to push it back to September. And like some days it'll be so hot, you're sweating all day long. And then the next day it's freezing. And I have goosebumps, and I'm just standing out there in my cloak. It's like
Dorothy has a very short dress, and there's not much to that costume. So I'm sure you've gotten cold over the years.
I will say, I don't know how the girls in the 70s did it, because the 70s costumes were so cute and gorgeous, and they all look amazing, but they must have been freezing.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy. I mean, thankfully it was open in the summer.
Their costumes are completely different to the classic Dorothy that we all love and know. Like they have like tall socks, super tall socks. They have these kind of clip-on red shoes that don't even look like the ruby slippers. So it was a whole different take, guys. And I was like, well, it was the 70s, so it's all radical peace. All right, But
yes, it was very 70s-esque.
Oh, yes. So my next question is I want to make a comment. I've already told the fans many times, whoever I marry, I haven't met Mrs. Fears yet. I've met a lot of Mrs. No's, but whenever I find Mrs. Fears, I've told my fans, not once, not twice, but around Autumn of Oz or in Autumn of Oz, I'm going to take that girl and I'm going to propose on the Yellow Brick Road somewhere during the tour. I kid you not. Because I love The Wizard of Oz. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
It's not my favorite movie, but it's one of my favorite movies. The fans know my favorite. So my favorite movie of all time is Ghostbusters.
Really?
That's my favorite one. My mom thinks I'm crazy. I said, Mom, when I die, I am taking my Blu-ray with me. I'm taking it with me. I love Ghostbusters. It's coming with me. So yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, whoever I marry, I'm gonna propose on the Yellow Brick Road. So I'm sure I'm not the only one that's had that idea.
No, and I will say, the first person who took me to the Land of Oz as a guest many, 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 many years ago is my current boyfriend.
Okay.
My boyfriend. And I'll be interested to see what happens this year.
All I gotta say is if he doesn't do that idea, he's an idiot.
I don't know exactly what his plans are, but it was the very first trip we ever took together. And if it's just romantic and in general.
Yes.
So I think he's right there with you.
So if he doesn't do it, now that I'm your friend, what's your boyfriend's name?
Ben. He's awesome.
I'll have to sit down. Like if he doesn't think of that idea, I'll be like, Ben, we need to have a sit down conversation. You've got a great girl. You have the Yellow Brick Road within inches away from you. Do it. Get on it.
He's probably kicking me right now. Like, oh my God.
Oh, is he watching?
I don't know. Actually, that's I'm not 100% sure. He might.
Well, Ben, I was just joking. You're not an idiot. I'm just saying he's got to do that idea. I hope he does.
I'll put it this way. I'll be interested to see. I think it'll be an exciting year for myself.
And how long have you been dating him?
So we have dated probably for 7 or so years, kind of off and on, and life and whatever. But
my brother did that. My brother, he dated his girlfriend for about 10 years. And then I said, I'm not going to say my brother's name on camera, but I said, dude, what are you doing? I said, she's a great girl. He's like, oh, I'm taking my time. I'm like, 10 years, you've took enough time. Ask her. So he finally asked. They've been together for 10, and then they've been married for 2 years now. So 12 now.
I'll say it's probably not his fault that it's taken 7 years.
Yeah.
I think if he had it his way, we would have been married a long time ago. So I definitely have a good one on my hands.
I always tell people, slow and steady wins the race. Like my dad, when he met my mom, my grandfather said, look, I already know you want to marry, my mom. But my grandpa told my dad, just give it another year. So my dad waited 2 years and then he asked my mom. So yeah.
Oh, cute. Yeah. That's He's the
their
best.
story is magical. My dad was in the army, and my mom's from England, so I'm half.
Oh, really?
So I'm half British, and then I was born in Missouri. So my dad's from Missouri.
Oh, just like Judy.
Basically a 10-second version, Steph. My dad was in the army, and he had some leave time, and him and a bunch of buddies went to Italy. My mom was on vacation in Italy with my British grandma.
Oh, really?
And back then there was a lot of discotheques, and my dad's friends were like, I don't know if this discotheque is worth it. My dad said, well, you know what? I'll go inside and check it out. So my dad goes inside, and he's like, oh, wow, there's like 1,000 people in here. Yeah, this is worth it. He comes back out, and he notices my mom in line, and my mom is with her girlfriends in front of my dad and their friends. So he comes out and he tells his buddy, oh, yeah, they're worth it. And then he notices my mom, and my dad's already got his thinking cap on. Well, as soon as I get in there, I'm ditching my friends, and I'm going to go talk to her.
Go talk to that girl, yeah.
So he waits to get inside, and then he goes, later, guys. And they're like, wait a minute. And my dad's name is John, too. So they were like, John, what are you talking about? We came here to party. And he goes, look, I can party with you guys anytime. I'm going to go over there and talk to that pretty lady. Peace. I'm out. And then my mom noticed my dad, and basically my mom did the same thing. She told her girlfriends later. And
See you later. Oh my gosh, how fun!
And they met in the middle, and then they talked and danced for hours. And then my dad's like, well, how long are you here for? And my mom's like, well, I'm only here for a week. And he said, well, I'm here for 3 weeks. He goes, I'm on leave. So they hung out every day for a week. And then at the end, you know, this was back in the 70s, so they didn't have like any cell phones or iPods or nothing like that. So my mom's like, well, what do we do? You're a great guy. And he goes, let's just write letters and let's just do a phone call. And they did that for 2 years. Then they finally met. They got married in England, and then they got married in America, because back then you had to have 2 marriage licenses if you had to marry a foreigner.
Oh, really?
And then in 1983, John came. So there we are. So I always loved that story. So I was like, I got to take a moment, and I'll tell Steph that story.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is really cool.
Okay, so time for an unscripted question. Steph, go ahead and ask me a question. Go for it.
Okay, so you said Ghostbusters. So what is your top 5 niche?
Oh, niche movies? Okay, Here we go. So in this order, Ghostbusters, The First Wizard of Oz, Goonies, Back to the Future, and then any of the Indiana Jones series, because I love all those. So those would be the top 5. What about you?
So my favorite movies of all time, actually, this is funny because I like to go on record of saying that I don't like musicals. And then my boyfriend, Ben, he's awesome, but he's like, Steph, how do you, that's a lie. He goes, your top favorite movies are 1, The Wizard of Oz, 2, The Sound of Music, 3, Greatest Showman, and then all the Harry Potter movies.
Nice.
He's like, your top 3 favorite movies are all musicals. What do you mean?
Yeah. You know what, Randall? I forgot about that. My friend Randall's in the chat. Randall, I forgot. Halloween. I forgot. So I have to pick 6.
Yeah.
Halloween. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Halloween is my favorite horror movie, but I'd say those 6 are my all-time favorite. So
love
yeah.
That. See, I love so how would you clarify between scary movies and horror movies? Because for me, like, I don't like the gore and like the blood, but I love a good The Others or Flight Plan or something that's like a little cheesy, but will like, but a psychological thriller, is that what they call it?
Yeah. So this is the easiest way to describe this. My friend Visions in the chat, he's like, Fears, the more buckets, the blood, the better. And I'm like, Visions, listen, I love you like a brother, but a little blood will do you. A little blood will do you. I can't do buckets, and like, I barely got through, you know, that crazy movie Hostel?
Yes, yeah.
That's too bloody. They're literally burning a girl's face off with a blowtorch. And I'm like, I'm good. So that would I would classify that as a horror movie. A scary movie is more like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a perfect example of one of my favorite psychological thrillers, that Secret Window with Johnny Depp. Even though there's a lot of like murders in that movie, because he kills people in that movie, it's more of a psychological thriller.
Okay.
And it was based off a book, and he plays Mort Rainey, Have you ever seen that movie? It's fantastic.
No.
It's fantastic. Watch it with you and Ben. The Secret Window. The Secret Secret Window.
The Secret Window. Okay, good to know.
Basically, a 10-second version is he's a down, out of luck writer. He used to be a fantastic writer, and his wife cheats on him, and he moves out to their lake house. So now she's taken over his house. He actually bought that house, but she goes, "No, it's mine now. You're out of here." And so he's at the lake house all by himself, and he starts just thinking all inside his head, and he starts thinking of a master plan to get back to her. I don't want to tell you how it ends, but it ends up horrible for her and for the guy that she cheats on him with.
Oh no!
I mean, horrible and then some, like beyond belief.
Okay, good.
So by the end of the film, he's smiling, he's giggling. The cops are like, "We know you did something to them." And he's like, "Well, guess what? You'll never prove it. So ha 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 ha." And then he gets away with it. But that's all I can tell you, because if I tell you much more, it'll ruin it.
Yeah.
So when you and Ben watch it, you'll remember this conversation and go, "Oh wow, Fears was right. Yeah, they had it in for them and then some." So that's how I would classify like Halloween is a perfect horror film. That's a perfect horror film. So that's how I would classify a psychological thriller and a horror film.
Yes, that checks out. So
before we move on, since you like horror too, what is your all-time favorite? You know my all-time favorite horror film. What's yours?
So I'm not like as much into horror as I am just scary movies in general. Mine, hands down, is The Others. I saw that as a kid and thought it was like the scariest movie of all time.
Nice.
And I mean, that is probably my, and like I grew up during the time, like The Ring was really popular, and that never really was like super scary to me. Great movie, but not super scary. My problem is that none of my friends or family like love scary movies. Like
mine's half and half. Some of my friends and family do, and then my mom's like, "John, you go off and watch all that stuff. I have no interest." Yeah. I'm like, right on, Mom. But yeah, I love that stuff. Yeah.
I definitely would say I think The Others would probably win as my top favorite like scary movie.
Okay. So
that or I used to joke that The Day After Tomorrow used to be one of my favorite movies because I love like the like scary type of like end of the world.
Yeah.
And that was another one. Ben was like, "Really?"
Ever since I became friends with Visions in the chat, I thought I was the horror master. That guy, oh man, he has a run for my money. He goes, "No, Fears, you've got nothing on me." And he always suggests all these funny, cheesy. I love the funny, cheesy ones. So, Steph, if you and Ben ever get a chance, watch Return of the Living Dead.
Okay. That's
a cheesy one. Watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And then watch Chopping Mall. That one's probably one of the most cheesiest movies I've ever seen in my life. And it's exactly the name. People die in a mall by killer robots. I shit you not.
Dang. I will say, if you like The Wizard of Oz and horror, there is one of my really good friends, Walter Kruger. If you haven't heard of him, he's like the Oz guy. Okay. He's like he's Oz historian, like one of the largest Wizard of Oz collections. He's like Mr. Oz. Look him up because he does a lot of crossover he does a lot of horror stuff too. I don't know if he covers as much of his horror collection as he does his Oz collection.
Okay.
But it might be a good, just a good person to connect with for kind of a crossover of your interests. Cause he has like a very vast collection.
And you know what? I never used to be into horror until I was about 16. I was over at my friend's house and I wasn't allowed to watch horror films. My mom and dad were like very strict. They said, when you get older, if you want to watch that, you can watch it. So it was kind of
naturally here you are.
I know, it was kind of like hush hush. I was over at my friend's house. We're playing video games, and he's like, "Hey, John, my mom and dad are asleep. Let's watch some horror movies." And I was like, "Okay." And the very first one we popped in was Halloween, and I've loved it ever since.
That's it. You're golden ever since.
Yeah.
See, my unfortunate reality is that I discovered the Wizard of Oz before I like had memories.
Mm-hmm.
So much of like my pop culture is just like, I kind of joke with my friends, but it's serious. I'm like, I really did watch one movie and one movie only for my entire life. So like, there is this element of like, I just am not really a pop culture knowledge.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I watched it over and over and over. Like I'd say the top 4 movies that I watched as a kid. I watched Ghostbusters so much the tape broke and my mom had to buy another one. So it was Ghostbusters I watched a lot, Back to the Future series, Wizard of Oz, and then the Goonies.
Yeah.
So yeah. So did your tape ever break?
So we had, I believe the version that we had was, and I say this, but I remember having a copy of like the VHS itself, but it was almost like we had taped a showing of it. Or for whatever reason, the scene after the lion jumps out of the window in Emerald City, a commercial used to come on.
Okay.
And then it would come back. And I watched it so many times that I eventually, when they got to the wizard again and he was giving out the gifts, that ran out. That like turned into fuzz. And so by the time that happened.
Wow, you guys went old school. You didn't even bother to go to the store and buy it. You just said, you know what? We'll get it free off the TV. Let's tape it.
I don't remember. I believe. And then by the time, because I'm so young, that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
DVD was out. So
okay.
No, I joke. But I do think that like I must have had it because I remember for years I watched it without seeing the end because it just was broken.
And you know what? Visions makes a good point. He says Oz definitely has some horror elements in it. Oh, it absolutely does.
If
like every version of it.
Do you have Shudder at all?
No, I don't.
So there, if you ever see, there's a show called Cursed Films, which is super cool. They dive into different movies and the history behind them and the horror history. Like they're all like things that are cursed or things that have some dark elements to the filming, to the production, whatever it was. And they actually did an entire show on the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they came up to the Land of Oz too and interviewed us and all that. And they do a good job of kind of going into some of the darker elements of it, but not like making it super dark. So
All right. Well, my next scripted question is actually, it was a good segue into it. My next scripted question is, since you love the movie so much, you can only pick one. What's your one favorite scene out of the entire film? You go first, and then I'll tell you. It's going to be hard because there's so many good scenes. I'll make it easy for you, Steph. Top 3 scenes. I
don't know. I know that sounds so stupid, but I actually really love when she's in the witch's castle and the witch tries to take her shoes off and the sparks come out. That is apparently apple juice is what they did that with. The special effects team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So that for some reason always sticks out to me. And
well, I understand why. That's an emotional scene. Dorothy's trying to get away, and then she's like you're a fool. Those will never come off unless as long as you're alive. And then the witch is like, well, guess what? I'll just kill you, and then I'll take them off. And then she gets
also. I didn't understand until I was older, and then I was like, oh, she says she's gonna kill her.
Yeah, she said as soon as that the sand is done, you're cursed. You're done for.
Yeah. That I really like Munchkinland when she meets Glinda and then they meet the witch. So again, I guess this is like another witch situation.
So that's your second scene. So you got one more.
And then, of course, the end when right before her monologue, at the end when she's saying goodbye to all her friends. Yeah. And she's in the balloon. and the balloon drifts away and the wizard leaves and the cat comes out and Toto jumps out and he's trying to chase the cat, whatever. That whole scene I like.
Those 3 scenes are amazing.
Yeah. I used to joke that I wanted to be proposed to in a hot air balloon.
Nice. Well, Ben, Ben, you heard it. Get on it.
I know. I think I've since realized my fear of heights is like way too out of control for that to happen.
Well, I just picture Ben like looking up on the internet. All right, how much is it to order a hot air balloon? $1,000. Oh my God.
I know. We've since moved away from that idea because I think I've realized that's probably not realistic given my literal fear of heights.
So. Well, everyone knows my fear. I've only got 2 fears. I cannot stand snakes. I hate snakes. Kind of like Indiana Jones. He's afraid of snakes. They're such a weird creature. They have no arms and legs. It's a body that slithers, and then if it bites you, it can kill you with the venom. So I'm like, I'm good. I'm really good.
Okay, on the snakes. Nope, we're good.
I'm like, so that's the first one. And then I'm not afraid of heights per se, but like, I'm okay with flying. But if someone said, hey, John, on the weekend, let's go skydiving, I'd be like, no, that's not happening. I'm good. Because what if like that parachute like malfunctions? That's the end of John Fears as we know it.
Yeah. I as much as I am afraid of heights, I love to challenge that. So I have been skydiving. And
oh, well, you're braver than me.
I will tell you, thank God someone was like tandem with me because and as I'm jumping out of this stupid plane, I'm like, this is the most unnecessary thing I have ever done. Like those thoughts went through my head because I'm like, I'm jumping out of a moving, I paid money to throw myself
out of a plane.
Out of a plane.
Oh, Cameo Man says, hey, John, just for your information, it's actually $2,200 an hour for a hot air balloon. All right, well, good to know. Yeah. Ben, take notes.
They're expensive.
They are.
My roommate is, she's actually about to go to Mexico. And she was like, yeah, they have, she I guess is going in a hot air balloon there.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, that's the way to do it because at least you can go somewhere pretty and exciting and something that you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And I believe she said it was like a little bit cheaper than other places she's looked at. So.
Okay. All right. Well, my 3 favorite scenes, I've got them locked down.
Oh yeah.
When Dorothy meets the Scarecrow, because he's my favorite character. That whole scene, them singing, them dancing, them going through the yellow brick road, that whole scene. Him, if I only had a brain, all that. That's number 1. Number 2, probably when all 4 of them are in sequence dancing and singing, we're off to see the wizard, the iconic one with all 4 of them. Yes. I know that's cheesy, guys, but it's one of the most amazing scenes out of the entire movie. And then the very last shot where she's like, oh, Annie M, there's no place like home. That like when Hunk and Hickory and all them, like, hey, it's your old pal Hunk. That whole scene.
You were there.
Yeah, that's all that whole scene. And then she's like, oh, Dorothy, like we think of like silly things, like when we dream. No, Annie M, this is like a true place. That's my 3rd favorite. Those are my 3 all-time favorites. Which leads into our next question. I believe there's 4 Wizard of Oz movies. You have Wizard of Oz, Return to Oz, and then the prequel, and then you have a cartoon movie. Have you ever seen the cartoon movie with Jim Belushi as I think he played the lion?
I've only seen bits and pieces of that one. That's the one.
I've seen all of the first 3, but the cartoon, I think Dan Aykroyd plays the Scarecrow, I think.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. That one, I'm just like, I will say the only ones I really have dived into, obviously the Wizard of Oz, but the Return to Oz. The cartoon, I've only really seen bits and pieces and like clips from when we talk about it at Land of Oz. Like, I mean, we're all Oz freaks, so.
Because I was going to ask you, what's your 2nd favorite out of the whole 4 movies?
Definitely Return to Oz.
Okay.
Yeah, the Return to Oz is really my cousins showed me the Wizard of Oz and Return to Oz when I was younger, and so I thought they were like the coolest people on the planet Earth. You know what I mean? And also as we got older, my sister and I are really close in age, and so you know, it was like not cool to like what your siblings liked. And so that was the only movie I could get her to. I was like, that was how I got her to watch The Wizard of Oz.
Nice.
Was she would watch Return to Oz with me, but she was like, no, I'm not going to watch The Wizard of Oz. So that was kind of.
Does your sister give you street cred? Hey guys, my sister is Dorothy. What do you think about that?
Yes, my family thinks it's like, I mean, when I say like it's really full circle, I mean, this is like probably the coolest thing that I personally will ever do.
I mean, listen, I got to play the Scarecrow for the rest of my life. I'm like, that's a good gig. That's a good gig.
So it's really, they're like super, my parents they still live up in Massachusetts, and every single year they make the trek to North Carolina. So
they come down for the 3 weekends?
They come at least for one weekend usually.
Okay, good. Good. I'd say I agree with you. My 2 favorite Wizard of Oz movies are the first one for sure, and then Return to Oz, because Return to Oz, even though it's like Oz, it's completely different. It's so different. It's a completely new experience. It's way darker. I mean, way darker. The headless woman freaked me out as a kid.
Yeah.
I would literally skim through it, Steph. I would be like, yep, enough of this lady, and I'd skim all the way through it until she was gone. You know, like that whole the whole wardrobe sequence. I was like, I'm not watching this, and I would skip through it.
Yeah. I don't know how I ever watched that as a kid and not been like, this is scary. Like something about, I mean, I totally understand why people are like, The Wizard of Oz always scared me, The Witch, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't understand how I watched Return to Oz and Wizard of Oz my whole life, and like never once did it dawn on me that like, oh, this is scary.
Yeah. All right, time for another unscripted question. Go for it.
Ooh. So what in this?
I put you on the spot, but I always do this with my guests.
What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Out of the entire series?
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with all of these, but.
Okay, so you got, let's see, you got the first 3 and then the prequels and then I'd say it's a split between Rogue One. Okay. Rogue One comes between episode 3 and the first prequel. Oh yeah, so no, I'm sorry. The prequel it comes after the 3rd prequel and part 4, because Rogue One shows them how they get the plans for the Death Star. So okay. I would say it's a split between Rogue One and episode 4, when you first meet Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Those are my 2 favorites. What about you?
Probably when you first meet Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. I mean, I also feel like that is like, I don't know, probably one of the first ones That
is the first one.
Yeah. I would believe that, because I went and tried to watch them when I was younger, and then Ben has like kind of made me sit down and watch all of them, but I'm not as familiar with them. But that one I think is the best, or the one that I remember the most.
Well, see, that's what we as men do. Like if your lady isn't a nerd right away, in our minds we're like, all right, I've got her now. I have to transform her into a nerd. But see, you're already kind of a nerd, so Ben's like, okay, I'm already halfway, so I just need to dig in a little bit deeper and have her transform into a full nerd.
Well, I would say we almost were backwards, because he liked Star Wars a lot, but I think he started to more embrace it when he realized, you know, I'm this big Oz nerd, and I was not nearly as like really. I kind of gone in circle, kind of ebbs and flows with my Oz obsession. It's always been consistent, but I didn't start collecting again until probably like when I started to do Dorothy again, because then it was like, oh, okay, this is like really part of my life. And
listen, the fans know I've got 2 nerd collections, because I used to live in Missouri, and then I moved down here. Yeah. I moved down here for a couple reasons in Florida. I thought, well, I'm sick and tired of the cold. Time for some fun in the sun. And this is my costume. I always go to the conventions in my Hawaiian shirts. I love this is my costume. So I said, where can I wear my Hawaiian shirts 365 days a year? Oh, Florida. I wanted to live in Hawaii, but it was too expensive.
I know.
So I picked here. And so I moved here for the weather, the job, and I've always had great memories of vacations that me and my family took. So I said, Mom, that's why airplanes were invented. I'll come and visit you, but I'm going to stay here. So yeah.
Yep. So I call it my adult collection and my childhood collection.
Yeah. So I have two collections. I've got my Missouri collection that eventually, whenever I get a bigger apartment or a condo or a house, I'll bring the Missouri collection down.
Right.
But then I have my Florida collection down here around me.
Yes.
So yeah. Same. So there's some here, there's some in the living room, there's some in my bedroom, there's stuff in the kitchen. I'm running out of room. I can't do that stuff.
Well, I don't know if you saw this one, but I actually recently set up my full Oz kind of.
Okay, yes, no, I saw it on your TikTok. You did a whole time lapse. I told you I watched every single video. Yes. I prepared, and my fans know when I prepare for an interview, I'm very professional because my fans love my interviews. And I went to film school / broadcasting school.
Awesome. Well, you can tell.
And one of the very first classes I took was how to prepare for an interview, how to do an interview. I like interviewing, and initially I wanted to be an actor, and then I found out, you know what, John, you're not really that good of an actor. Like you're better at making content, and so I get a lot of jokes from my fans. They're like, well, at least John gives a good effort. Whenever I'm in a short film that I do, because I'd say to break down Fears Man and Fears Vlogs.
You have a lot of short films that you did, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say the best way to break it down is on Fears Vlogs. I do a podcast, but since this was like a year in the making, this one tonight, I thought I'm going to put this one on the main channel so it gets more views. So so now we're on Fears Man. So the best way to break it down, on Fears Vlogs, I do vlogs of my life, and then the podcast, I'll just either talk about a certain topic by myself, or I'll invite my friend Randy or Visions on, or whoever. And then on Fears Man, it's a split between 10 videos. It's like short films, parodies, funny skits, memes, movie reviews, short films, stuff like that. All the convention stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite convention?
I have two, hands down. There's a big Halloween convention in Missouri. I don't know if they just do it in Missouri. I haven't went back since I've been living down here for a while. It's called Trans World Halloween and Attraction. And Steph, it's 4 days, anything and everything that you can possibly think of Halloween. So that's my
really.
I'd say, and they have a website. So if you and Ben want to go, it's HalloweenAttractions.com. Check it out. It's really good.
Sweet.
It's I haven't been in a while, but when I went, it was $65 for the whole weekend. That's my longest convention I've ever went to. And then the second one, any like collectible or toy convention, because I collect vintage props, new props, and then vintage toys.
Okay.
Cool. So me and Ben would get along quite well, because I'm sure he's a big collector of that stuff too.
He's like a mini I mean, I wouldn't say he's a collector. He just will collect things that people give to him, I think. Okay. Or I would say he goes more he'll collect things for me. He's gone and he bought the lounge fly bag for me.
Right. I said eventually Steph will get it.
I'll get there. So he bought that for me, and he'll if he finds something on eBay that he knows I'll he'll get it. But I would say that he will just kind of, as far as Star Wars goes, I think he needs to embrace it a little bit more, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
All right, embrace the nerdage.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny. So in his apartment, as my collection gets bigger, and we want to create a nerd corner, is what I've called it, where I'm okay, we're going to put up shelves in the corner, and I want Star Wars on one side and Wizard of Oz on the other. And then we can have some Harry Potter in the middle.
I call my collection my nerd cave. My nerd cave. So
yes, yeah.
I surround my nerdage all around my apartment, and there's a room in the kitchen, the nerd cave. There's a little, the movie prop shelf and all that.
Yeah.
So I call it my nerd cave. So yeah.
Perfect.
That's so cool. So awesome. All right, next question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever went to a convention?
No, the closest I've gone to a convention is literally Autumn at Oz.
If you guys like all that nerd stuff, you and Ben would love conventions.
I know. I feel like we should go.
Comic-Con is fantastic.
I know. I've heard really good things. I will say, like, all of my friends go to all the Oz conventions and Oz festivals, and I have like tried to go with them, and it just doesn't work out or whatever.
I've never went to a Wizard of Oz themed convention. I went to a Ghostbuster one, but normally I go to the Halloween conventions or the Comic-Con toy conventions.
Yeah, they have a pretty big, there's actually like kind of a lot of Oz festivals. Of course, I'm like blanking right now, but they have a lot of, they have ones every year. Like they have one in Ohio. Sorry, that's my cat.
It's all right.
They have one in Ohio every year.
He wanted to make a cameo in the stream. What's your cat?
Honestly, I am so surprised. He has been sitting behind me this whole time because when I went to go sit down, of course, Toto was already in my chair. And I've been trying to, like, he doesn't normally stay silent if I'm talking for that long, but here's Toto.
Oh, adorable. Let's zoom. Let's zoom in.
Yes, here.
Oh my gosh.
He's very sleepy right now, but
he's adorable.
Yes, he's very cute, and he has his I call it he's always ready to see the wizard with his emerald green collar.
Oh, nice.
A little emerald green gem on it.
By the way, speaking of merch, I saw the Goofy hat. The Goofy hat was a rocket.
Yes, she's right there.
I saw it. You were like, you're in the video and you're like, look at this stupid hat.
I love it.
And I'm like, just embrace it, Steph. Just embrace it.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Like Ben jokes with me. He's the best, but he's always like, you're always dressed in full cosplay because I will go out in normal life. And almost every single time I go out, I always have some sort of Wizard of Oz, whether it's like my purse that I have or like a hat that I'm wearing or like a jacket. I always try to do like one secret little Wizard of Oz thing.
I got you. Yeah, no, at the conventions, I'll always wear like a pin or I'll wear a Ghostbuster hat or something. Visions actually made me a little Fears Man 26 pin, so I'll wear that.
Oh, cool. I love that.
He's the man. So every couple of months, he'll be like, hey, John, guess what? I made you a new shirt. You got to wear this. And
that's nice.
My newest one is I went to his website because he makes his own merch. So I went to his website and he had for Mother's Day, he made a shirt that said, I love Grandma on it. And I said, oh, I'm going to buy that one. It's massive. It says, I love Grandma on it. And I was like, I have to get this. So
yes, that's perfect.
Before we move on, I forgot to tell you, you told me your favorite movies on my channel. I forgot to tell you on yours. So I know you have a YouTube channel. I know you don't do much on it anymore, but I subscribed to that.
That is deep into the past.
Yes, I subscribed to that. I subscribed to your Instagram and your TikTok. And then whenever you get a chance, I followed you on Facebook. I sent you a friend request.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am so bad at Facebook, and I really need to get better because I always go on and I've missed like so many different things, but sorry.
Yeah, so whenever you get a chance, add me on Facebook because I want to keep in touch now that we're friends.
Yes.
But my two favorite videos, Steph, I was dying laughing at these. And I was like, she's a genius. I'm like, it's hysterical, these two videos. So the first one, I think it's like your fourth video into your TikTok. I don't remember the song, but it's like Dorothy walking down the yellow brick road, and then a gangster song pops on, and you're like twirling your hair, twirling the dress, and I was dying because it's out of nowhere. This rap song comes on, and I was losing my mind. I was on the floor dying. So that's my favorite one. Do you know which video I'm talking about?
Is it the Lizzo one?
I think so. Like you like throw your foot forward and like you flip your hair, and it's like a gangster rap song comes on.
It might be the Lizzo one. That was so last year I just started doing videos for Land of Oz.
Yeah.
And that was the first one I did, and it just like blew up out of nowhere. And I was like not really sure if I should post it because it's not really on brand for Dorothy at all. But I was just like,
thank God you did, because I got a good laugh. It was so amazing.
I'm like, okay, everybody knows. Like, yes, we are embodying like the story of the Wizard of Oz. At the same time, like we have to make it kind of exciting and fun for people to get involved in. And like part of our demographic is like people that are my age who want to have a little bit of like, just fun with it and know that like, okay, this is still something that like, I don't know. And whatever it was, it did really well. So I ended up posting it on my personal one.
I'm like, I thought I made a lot of content, like not like, but I'm serious, guys. When I say, if you mix your content and then the Land of Oz content, you guys have well over probably 10,000 videos and pictures and the whole 9 yards. Like I'd say on my Instagram, maybe I've done 1,000 photos and videos, but the Land of Oz, I scroll back. I haven't even got to the very beginning post yet. I've tried, and I'm like, this goes on forever, man. So that was my first favorite video. My second favorite one is where you're on the yellow brick road, and then a voiceover comes on, and it says like, I'm Glinda, the witch of the north, and she's like, only bad witches are ugly. And then you're like, so why did you ask if I was a bad witch or something like that? I lost it. That was my two favorite videos.
So that sound actually started trending last year, and I was like, Sean, we've got to do this video. And it was like,
because you go from, I kid you not, Steph, you go from happy-go-lucky like Dorothy, and then all of a sudden you're like, so why'd you ask me if I was a bad witch?
Which is so true.
I was like, man, this is some good acting, man.
Thank you.
So, did you ever check out any of my short films? Because I've got a couple of short films.
No, I need to dive deeper, and because I saw them and like looked at a little bit of it. It was kind of like, okay, let me flip through and see, and like. You know, I saw they're fun and very like, you're just very into what you do, which is what I care about, you know? So I want to look at them even more.
Everybody knows I'm super passionate about film. Yeah. Like I told Vision, I've told my fans, I would die a happy man if I got to be either in a cameo in a movie or had a main part or something. Even though I'm a terrible actor, I'd be like, look, just stick me in the back, put a stormtrooper outfit on me, let me run across the street. I'm good. I can die a happy man. I don't care. Put me in Harry Potter glasses, put a Ravenclaw's, sweater on me, stick me in the back. I'm good. So yeah.
I know, right? Well, and also like, I think everybody has that imposter syndrome. Like even me, like I'm still like, I mean, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just, I'm a yoga teacher who serves at a restaurant who also happens to be Dorothy sometimes. Yeah. It's like
my three top strengths as a content filmmaker. I love writing. I don't write in it daily. I'd say I write in my journal weekly. So I like to write. Me and my friend Randall, we make cartoons. Did you see the cartoons yet?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of them. I didn't like deep dive. I need to do
go ahead and do a deep dive. I'd say my three top favorite videos that I've ever made. Anything Fierce Man. It's basically just a ripoff of Superman because I love Superman.
Yes, yeah.
And I said I have to have my own character because Randall is a great animation artist. He's fantastic.
Yes, I love that.
So I do voiceover work for Randall. So he's got his own He's got his own cartoon. I started voicing a bunch of characters. I played a beaver. I've played this guy named Cody. I've done a dog voice. I mean, I've done it all. And then he said, hey, Fierce, for all your hard work, let's do a cartoon for you. And I said, okay. Yeah. So I said, Randall, give me a week or two. And then I created Fierce Man when I was 6 years old. And I've just kept adding elements to him. It was a class project. It was a class project. And my teacher said, I want you guys to draw a picture of a superhero. He has to have a name. He has to have an alter ego. He has to have powers. He has to have a costume. And I got an A on it. So
I love that.
I thought, all right, well, I already have a cool last name to begin with, Fears. So I just said Fears Man, and then I kept adding stuff to him.
That's perfect.
I said, I just want him to be the most goofiest superhero and the most disgusting superhero. Like some of his powers, like I have Crohn's disease. So I just added that in. I just added it. So like if a villain's running down and like he's got a gun, Fears Man will just bend over and unleash a massive fart in his face and knock him out. Just knock him out. And I'll be like, there is. So I just kept adding layers to him. So I'd say my three favorite short films are any of the Fears Man cartoons, this short film called The Lonely Ghost. So check that one out. Mm-hmm. Basically, I play a ghost, and I don't know that I'm a ghost. And I think I'm going to go visit my wife that's passed away. And then all of a sudden she shows up and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm in front of her grave. Like, what's she doing here? And come to find out, I'm the ghost and she's visiting me. And the ghost has unfinished business. And so when I try to leave, this force field pops up and I can't leave the graveyard. She leaves, and then it ends up like, well, the ghost hasn't figured his unfinished business yet, and then it ends.
Oh, interesting.
So that's my second favorite. And then my third favorite is probably me and my friend Keegan. Have you ever seen RoboCop?
Yes, many years ago.
So throughout the whole RoboCop series, they do all these funny like commercials. Like it's always these outrageous, cheesy products. Like there's like a suntan lotion, like Sunblock 5000, and then the lady's covered in sunblock, and then it says frequent use will cause cancer. So I told Keegan, I said, Keegan, we have to recreate the Magnavolt commercial. Have you seen that one? That's my favorite. It basically, a guy's running through a parking lot and he's got a crowbar and he breaks into a car. He gets in, and as soon as he gets into the car, out of the seat comes this metal thing that goes around his waist and basically electrifies him and kills him. And all of a sudden the salesman comes up and says, Magnavolt, the ultimate solution in auto security. No more troubling alarm noise. Don't have to bother with the police. It's all taken care of. And he opens the door and the dead body falls out. And then he gets in and says, Magnavolt, you don't have to recharge your batteries. Peace later. And he drives off. And so me and my friend recreated that. So you'll find that one on there and you'll love it.
That's hilarious. I love
Those
that.
are my 3 favorite short films. And I haven't made a short film in quite a long time. I've been focusing a lot on my nerd content lately.
Sure.
So yeah.
Hey, but ebb and flow. It's always what, it's also like with us nerds, it's kind of like what you're into at the time, mm-hmm. Like I feel like you go through cycles. Like sometimes I'll be super into the Harry Potter thing. And
sorry, Vision says, it's nice meeting you, Steph. Have a great night. All right, Visions, later.
Bye, Visions.
Continue. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, I think part of like being a nerd is kind of having those interests ebb and flow. Like I think I'll get really into Harry Potter for a little bit, and Ben and I do a lot of puzzles. So we'll do some like Harry Potter puzzles, and then we'll do some Oz puzzles, or we'll do some Star Wars puzzles. I feel like it's like a rotation, you can't.
Well, me and Randall have been talking, like literally he said this about a week or two ago, and he said, John, he goes, I love the nerd content. I love the cartoons. He goes, but he goes, even though you're not that good of an actor, he goes, you make great short films. He goes, I want to get back. He goes, I want to get back to that, John. I said, you know what, Randall? I said, I do too. I said, I just haven't. Right? I haven't thought of a good short film idea in a while, in a long time. Because I made The Lonely Ghost like 3 or 4 years ago. It's been a while. It's been a minute. So, all right, my next scripted question. Since we were talking about our video content, my favorite. What's your favorite video? It's a 2-part question. What's your favorite video that you've ever made on your social media? And then what's your favorite video that you've made with the Land of Oz crew?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I've got my 2 favorites, because I've already told you my 2 on your personal one, but I'm going to tell you my 2 favorite, the ones that you've done for the Land of Oz.
My 2 favorites that I've made on my personal, I would say, I get really excited. I think I get most excited about the time lapse of my Oz collection, which sounds kind of weird, but I think
that was a good video. I love time lapse. I put time lapses in my vlogs all the time.
Yeah, time lapses to me are just so satisfying to watch. Like I hate cleaning my room. I'm sure you've seen this.
Oh yeah.
I'll do time lapses.
I didn't want to bring it up, Steph, but I was like, wow. I'm like, she's an amazing actress, but man, that room is quite messy.
I know. And I swore, I was like, my roommate's like, are you going to put that up? I was like, no, I'll never put this up. And then I was like, you know what, whatever. Like, I'm so open about everything that like who I am. And like, I am not perfect by any means.
Oh, the fans know I'm definitely not perfect by any means. I've made quite a few mistakes in my life.
So it also like, that's just how I find motivation in my like ADD brain to like do something that is good for me.
Yeah. I've got worse stuff. I've got OCD, I've got ADD, I've got Crohn's disease. I got a lot of crap going on.
So I think the time lapse, that's kind of what I'm into right now. And I get really like psyched about it because it's the first time that I, as an adult, have like worked towards displaying my collection.
And it was phenomenal. Like you had the white shelves, and then you guys moved it over, and then you guys had this whole like, I don't even know what you'd call it, this whole rack of just, I kind of paused the video, and it was just millions of memorabilia of God knows what. It was probably most of it was the Land of Oz. And I look over to the left, and I'm like, I can kind of see a few Star Wars, and I can kind of see a few Wizard of Oz. I mean, it's probably a mixture of things. So that's your first favorite video. What's your second?
What's my second favorite? I don't know. That's a good question. I think any, I don't know. Probably also another time lapse, my transition to Dorothy. I think that's my.
Oh yeah, when you're in the makeup chair.
Yeah, I think that's just because it's like so fun for me to watch. But yeah, I think that's my. I would say that. I don't know. That's a good question.
And then what's your two favorite that you've done with the Land of Oz? Because I mean, you guys, whenever they do it, I mean, you guys have done some professional shoots. You just got done with one. I saw you post some. Oh, I'm sorry. The Land of Oz posted a few pictures of your recent type of shoot.
Yes, which I'm super, super excited about. This season is going to be very exciting. We have some stuff in the works that, you know, as the entertainment industry always is, fingers crossed that everything works out well. But I think definitely the Lizzo video that you saw, that you mentioned, if it's the same one, though, I think that was my first one that I did. And so that was kind of like the first time I experienced content creation. So it's a little bit more personal to me, I guess. And there's one where I am with the Scarecrow and him and I are talking, and the voiceover is like, this is like it, well, like couldn't be worse than this. And it's like, well, no, this is the worst. That video, I've
watched that one. I've watched that one. My two favorite is it just started. It just fades open, and this is on the Land of Oz page.
Oh, actually.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's one, there's two videos that we did where it's transitions from black and white to color. And the Lizzie McGuire one and another one, those are probably also up there. I forgot about those.
So I've got no, it's all right. I've got two favorites. So it starts with black, it fades open. All of you guys are in sequence. There's a bunch of like families and stuff in front of you. And then you guys say, be sure to check out, get your tickets now for Autumn of Oz. Come on, you guys. And then you guys start. That's my favorite video.
Okay.
And it was real short, like maybe 10, 15 seconds. Then the one you're talking about where it starts as drone footage above Dorothy's house. Then you say, what is it, Toto? And it's all black and white. You open up the cupboard and you find the ruby slippers, and then it transitions to color. And then all of a sudden you hear the cowardly line go, Dorothy, like that. That always makes me laugh because the way that guy says it, Dorothy. And then you guys start. That's my second favorite. That one was really good. That one's like my favorite.
Yes, I would say that's probably the first commercial I ever filmed too for Oz. And we filmed that right after 2020.
So right before the pandemic.
Yeah. So it was, I believe, I don't really remember when. It was like right when the pandemic started to end. Or no, it might have been before. Wow. Oh my God. How can I not remember this? Anyways,
it's all right.
We like filmed it, and it was just one of those things where,
trust me, Steph, my fans know I forget a lot of stuff. I don't know. As older as I get, the memory starts fading away. Visions has told me a couple times, John, you told me that story last week. That's not how it went. This is how it went. And I'm like, oh, really, Visions? Well, thanks a lot. My fans will make fun of me. And I'm like, you know what, guys? I do my best to remember as much as I possibly can, but I can't remember it all, and hardly ever do I remember. I'll remember bits and pieces of a story. So since we are friends, if you tell me a story and I forget about it, bear with me. Just be like, John, that's not how it went. This is how it went.
Well, I love to chat, so I'll tell the same story 18,000 times.
So do I. They must have heard my mom and dad's story more than 20 times because it's such a great story.
It is. That's a great story, though. That is like, I would definitely share that.
Because most people don't meet like that anymore.
Yeah, no.
Most people, it's like, oh, you want to hang out with Tiffany? Oh, well, I'll just, text you her number. Or, hey, I met on a crappy dating app,
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, whoever I meet, I said, it'll probably be a normal story. It probably won't be a magical story like you and Dad. I'm like, I don't know if I can top you and Dad's story.
Yeah, I would say that is like
I've even told my mom and my fans that should be made into a movie.
Yeah, that should. That's a great. That could be your next short film. There you go.
There you are. I would be honored to play my dad.
That would be that is a really great story. I love that. And it's also you're right. Like people don't meet that way anymore, and it's very like timeless and romantical. But yeah, I definitely. That could be your next short film. There you go.
I need to get a writing then. Yeah. So, I forgot what were we talking about? I forgot the question that we were talking about.
We were talking about the film. Oh, so basically
go ahead.
That commercial we filmed, and I'm realizing now it must have been like either right when things started to open up again.
Okay.
For 2020, and
because for a while there was a big gap where I was like, oh, they were like producing tons of videos. And I guess when the pandemic came, there was just tons of photos in between that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was at work just totally bored. And I was like, all right, I'm going to upload a picture. I was uploading a picture on my page. And then I was like, you know what? I haven't checked out the Wizard of Oz page in about a month. And that's when that video popped up. I was like, oh, wow, this one's awesome, dude.
Thanks.
So yeah, it was pretty good.
So we filmed that, and I just remember it was a really tough time for me personally. I mean, as many others, it's just tough and haven't seen people and you're not doing the things you love. And, it's like so much of your life changes. And
the pandemic pretty much it ruined everyone's lives. People died. Yeah. People died from it. People lost their jobs. I almost moved back to Missouri because I at first moved down here to get a job at Disney World, and they had to let us all go. I had a great job at Disney World, and I said, well, I don't want to give up. So one day I may go back to Disney World, but I told all my friends, my family, if I don't, I like the job that I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So I work for FedEx.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I do a lot of their packaging handling. I do a lot. I'm in their processing area, stuff like that. And then I'm like you have your day job, and then the minute I get home, I'm either doing a live stream with the fans, or I'm making content, or I'm editing content. And then on the weekend, I call them adventure vlogs. I'll go to a big ass tourist attraction.
Oh, cool.
And then I'll just vlog away.
I love that.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's I definitely think that coming back and filming that commercial kind of added just a bit of sanity back into my life. And also seeing my friends again. The first year after the pandemic, 2021 of Oz, was the hardest year to end because Sean, lived in a major city at the time. And so ended up coming to North Carolina to kind of get out of the pandemic a little bit and kind of stay in a secluded area. And I don't want to speak for him.
They let go. I remember they couldn't, they let so many people go. They didn't have enough room, Steph. They would call about 100 to 200 people in a room and say, we don't have enough money to keep you guys because of the pandemic. So yeah, I was there for about a year, and then I was one of the rare people that I got called in with 5 people, and each person one at a time. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to let you go. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to let you go. I was the last one, and they're like, John, we you know what's about to happen. I said,
yeah,
I got it. But they said, we really want you to come back someday. They said, you only missed a day or two because of your Crohn's. They said you were a happy-go-lucky guy. You were awesome with the guests. You were awesome with the crew. And I said, maybe one day I'll come back.
Yeah, that's so tough.
It was.
I think, just having that. And so that commercial is a little bit also kind of special. It's the first one that I had done alone, kind of that was when I started to really do a lot more of the promo stuff. And then just on top of that, having that, like, you know, as you know, kind of just that.
I mean, it's so well scripted. I mean, that one you guys must have wrote a script for, because I mean, it starts off with drone footage way high up in the air, flies down like maybe 2 inches off of Annie M's like roof. Then it fades into you laying on the bed saying, "What is it, Toto? What's that noise?" And then you open up the drawer. Then it fades into you guys dancing down the yellow brick road, and the Tin Man's all going like this. And I'm like, this is well edited, well scripted, well shot. And it looked like you guys shot it with professional cameras. So that's probably, I'd say it's my second favorite.
Yeah. Garrick, who's our photographer, he's always been, I actually just found out that, excuse me, his first year with Land of Oz was my first year as Dorothy. I always thought that he had been, yeah. So we've been, he comes every year and does footage and stuff. And usually we just would get B-roll and we would get footage of the event. And then we would do, like, after the event ended, we'd have a few characters stay in costume and we would just do the photo shoots. And it was like, all right, you know, and it was kind of low key. So that was like one of, I wouldn't say it was the first time, but it was the first time we did like an actual, like, planned out, this is what we're going to do. This is the blocking. This is the, you know, the script or the voiceover, whatever it was.
How long was that shoot? How long? Because that commercial only lasts maybe a minute and 30 seconds. How long was that shoot?
Usually we'll do it like in one day.
Okay.
So we'll do, but when I say one day, like our photo shoots lately, like the last two that we've done with Curtis Brown, who's also just an incredible photographer, like 8 to 12 hours.
Those professional ones, I've seen the ones in front of Annie M's house is okay, but my favorites are always on the yellow brick road. You guys, I mean, it's crystal clear photography.
We have a really good team. Like, all the people who work with our team, like, I mean, one of the things about the Wizard of Oz is, like, you get people who are just so passionate about it, that are so unbelievably talented that like, I say this full-heartedly, like, I'm the luckiest person I know on the face of the earth that, like, I get to do these things and the things I love with people it
must be an honor to be the number one Dorothy.
Thank you. I wouldn't say that. I think one of the cool things
I'm sure all the other Dorothys are great, but like
they really are.
Anytime you guys have done an interview, like all the newscaster people are always saying, "How's it feel to be the number one?" And then I see you laugh, and I'm like, well, Steph's probably not like that. Like, she probably loves the whole team.
I do. I'm very, like, team oriented. I think, I mean, you do not put an event on like the Autumn at Oz without the entire team. I say, if I am not on stage and I am not out there, I want someone who is better than me out there so that the guests are getting the best experience. Like, I don't want to be the, you know, best, but like, I want to make sure that every time a guest is there, like, all of us are giving our best performance, and we do. Like, I know every single one of the other girls are so incredibly talented. All of the friends, all the actors who play the friends are like incredible. And it's like, I mean, and that's not, you know, that is absolutely on purpose. I know Sean is very selective, so.
I don't know his name, but like, as I was doing my research, the main like scarecrow guy, you always take photos with him, and he's kind of tall, but I've never seen him out of the makeup. But I know there's many scarecrows.
Yes.
What's his name?
So I believe it's Alex, I think.
Alex is phenomenal. Like, in that video where it's like, "Come to Autumn of Oz," he's all like going like that, and I'm like, he's a good actor, man.
I think it's him. The one, so if it's recent, it would be him. We have one. It kind of depends. Also, like, the friends
off camera, I'll have to send you a photo on your Facebook. I'll let you know. I'll just grab one out of Autumn of Oz and I'll just send it to you, because I think it's that guy. Because you guys take pictures with the whole cast, but then like, I guess your photographer says, Well, you guys have been together for a while, so you take this photo, take that photo, and because the whole cast is great.
Yeah, the whole cast, like, I mean, it's really crazy to see. And like, it's crazy to see what each person brings to the table. Like, one of the other Dorothys is so spot on with her voice. It is like crazy. It is so good. And she's so talented. She can, I mean, all of them are so talented and can sing. But it's like, and then another one who I love, she's so professional. She plays it in such a different way that is so loving and funny, and it adds like a comedic part to it that I could never do. And I'm like, that's awesome. I don't, you know, it's like
when I did my research, I mean, it looks like everyone is having fun with it. Super professional. Not just you. The whole cast is super professional. They care, and God, do they care? I'm like, wow. And so it's good. But I'd say out of all the Dorothys, I'm not saying this because we just became friends. You look like you look like Judy Garland, almost spot on, almost.
Thank you.
I mean, all the other girls look similar, but like when I was like doing my research, because I've been preparing for the last 3 days.
I know. Thank you.
So after work and on the weekend, I'd watch some more, and I looked up the history on the mountain stuff, and my friend was like, he said it off camera. He was like, did you? Because I have my friends on my live stream. He goes, did you ever find out how it burned? I said, no. I said, I've seen 10, 20, 30 conspiracies. I'm like, I have no idea what it is.
There also was multiple fires too. So there's like, and it's just like I said, I don't know if we'll ever fully know the truth, unfortunately.
We'll just keep the magic, you know. Yes. And my friend made a joke and said, well, John, too bad you can't. He goes, I'm short, so I can't be the scarecrow. And my friend's like, you should say, hey, like, if you ever need an extra scarecrow, like, hook me up. And I'm like, I told my friend, I can't because I'm only 5'6", and the scarecrow has to be, what, 5'9", 6 foot?
It's like, usually I think 6 foot is what we look at. I really don't do much as much of like the casting stuff, obviously. But I
always joke around about my height. So I'm like, hey, Steph, if you need another munchkin, I'm your guy. All right.
Yeah, I know. So I'll try to like pass different names to Sean, that if anybody I work with or whatever. And I believe usually he's like, he'll ask if they're 6 foot or whatever. And I'm like, they have to be so tall too. And all of like, Judy was like 4'11", and like, I'm still one of like the shorter of the Dorothys, and I'm like 5'4".
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of the
unfortunately, God did not bless me with height, because I mean, that's one of the go-to things that the haters of mine, they're like, Fears, you're super small, and it's annoying.
Wait, that's the things that they're saying. We're doing pretty good then.
I know. Well, they say other stuff too, but that's one of the most annoying things they about my height. So yeah. Yeah.
That means they don't have anything else bad to say. So
exactly. Anyway, next question. I'm going to do an unscripted question to you.
Okay.
Okay. So when you first got the gig, I've been dying to ask you this. Did you walk around the park alone and say, this is fantastic? And did you what's your favorite spot in the park? Like when you first got the gig, I'm sure if I was in your position, I'd be like, all right, I got the gig. I'm just going to take some time out to myself and just kind of walk around by myself, take a few pictures, do a few selfies. Did you do that? And then did you pick your favorite spot?
Yes, that's interesting you say that, because there is elements to the Land of Oz that, and whatever everybody believes in, that are just strange. We'll put it that way. It doesn't all add up. And some people use the word haunted.
Okay.
I definitely feel a change of energy when you walk on, kind of like I said before, it's different. Being on a mountain is different.
Yep.
But there's something about being on the physical land that the park is built on that feels really special to me. And it's just something that I've kind of felt. And so I have begun to call it my blessing of the land, for lack of any sort of better way to describe it. Or I guess thinking of the land, where I literally will just take a moment every single year to myself, whether it's before the event. Usually I do it before and after, where I just sit there and I thank the park kind of in my own way, and just kind of like sit there and kind of be with whatever presence is there or lack thereof. I don't know. And just, take time to like thank it for everything that it has brought to so many people. And me especially, just because it's very emotional for me. It's extremely, I joke that like Land of Oz is my life. And I think that a lot of people would be like, what people have to say about that, I don't care. But I'm so
either. I'd be like, it's a blessed life. I get to play Dorothy like a couple of times a year. If you don't like it, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm like, it's that, like, I want that to be my life. It is my life. I love it. It's something that I base my entire personality off of at this point. But it's just like, it's so special to me. And to kind of, like you said, it's not necessarily pick a favorite spot, but I do have a moment. I do have my favorite spot. It's that one that I'm sure you've seen the picture where there's Glinda and Dorothy, and there's a beautiful sunset, and they're standing on a rock.
Yes, and it's you have your back towards the camera and you're looking out.
Yes, I think that's a different Dorothy, if I believe.
Oh, okay, I thought that was you. I'm sorry.
No, I wish. I tried to recreate that photo.
That's your favorite spot, though.
Yes, that is probably, I would say, my favorite spot.
That's a fantastic view.
It's a beautiful view, and it just puts into perspective like what is actually happening here. Like, yes, it's a theme park in the Wizard of Oz and blah 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 blah, but I mean, as you can imagine, you get how many actors together, some of them playing the same parts. Like, drama can unfold and whatever, and you're up there for 3 weeks, and it's not all rainbows and sunshine. It's life, So I think it just kind of brings everything back down to earth, to just be like, I'm here. I'm so lucky to be here. This is just like, people don't get to do this. Like, people don't get to live out the dream that they've had since they were literally 3 years old, of like just bringing this story to life that is so beautiful and magical to so many people. So it's very.
I already picked a spot and I haven't even went yet. Like, when I saw this photo, I was like, whenever I go in a year or two, or I'm going to try and go as quickly as I can.
Yes.
I saw this photo of all 4 of you guys in sequence, and it looks like you're about to like tip down the Yellow Brick Road, but on both sides, there's a brown fence with tons of red flowers. I mean, millions of red flowers. Do you know where I'm talking about?
Yeah, probably our poppy field. Yeah.
Okay, and then it leads into the Yellow Brick Road, and then there's just tons of stuff on the sides. I'd say that's my favorite photo probably of all time that they've uploaded.
Yeah, we have like spots that are best for taking pictures on the Yellow Brick Road. I feel like that's one of them. And I like that there's like a little mini hill that is just really good for like skipping and photo ops and things like that. That area is beautiful, and that actually leads into, well, depending on where you are. But also, I would say where that waterfall is also one of my favorite spots. It's right. The waterfall, on the other side of the waterfall is a pond.
Oh, nice.
That we actually will fill up and make it look like the Blue Pond at some point.
Yeah. The Blue Pond in the Munchkin Land, correct?
Yes. It's not really. It's kind of more so like an ode to like the book series, but similar. Yes.
Yeah. So this is a scripted question. My next question is, since you've been at it for a couple of years now, I'm sure you have millions and millions of stories of like fan interactions. What's been pick like your top 3 fan interactions that someone's asked you to do, or a personal favorite thing that you're like, wow, I made that person's day, and just something like that. So do you have a 3 favorite fan stories, or a favorite actor or something like that?
Yeah, I have a lot of I definitely have a lot of stories there. I will say, like, there are times where if you ever come to the park and like you catch me, you'll know. Like, the mask comes off. It is really hard for me to stay fully unemotional sometimes because it is like, I know what it's like. I've been there. I've literally been the person who meets Dorothy, like I get it. So there's this one time, and two of these actually happened last year.
Okay.
One of them is that I was sitting in Kansas and I was doing my scene with the professor, and this girl who was probably around like 10, 11, I would say a little bit older, maybe, like old enough at that point where, in school, you're starting to get teased or whatever for the things that you love and not being normal and not fitting in and whatever. And this girl comes running into the park from the way that you come down the path. And she is like, yeah. So there's the way. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. The way that you come down is like you come up through a fountain and then you go through like where we have our Judy Garland overlook, and then you come down through this kind of like foresty path into Kansas. And when you turn the corner, she saw me doing the scene with Professor, and she like, I like lost her mind. She's like, "Oh my God, it's Dorothy." And she's like so excited. And her mom was like, honey, yeah, like, honey, shh. And she's like, and her mom was being super nice. So like, she just like, you could tell her mom was like so excited to see this girl, so excited. And like, she was just losing it. She was like jumping up and down. And I'm like, it just was kind of emotional to me because it was like, oh my God, she's freaking out that she sees Dorothy. And like,
I'm sure you guys had to stop the scene and be like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?"
I like, usually if there's little kids that are up close or something, like, I mean, I'll kind of invite them in if I can. Because it's like, especially on the Elbrick Road, sometimes if I do something with like from Scarecrow to Tin Man and there's like a little girl dressed as Dorothy or something and she's super excited, I'll like kind of bring her up with me to go to the Tin Man and I'll be like, "Oh, who's that?" So that stuff is fun. But she just like, I don't know. It was really cool because it was just one of those moments that made it so surreal for me. That was like,
oh, I'm sure.
Oh, wow. Like it's somebody who's like old enough to kind of have this real true established love for the movie. And it's like, the little kids always get you. But when it's somebody who is like a little bit older and still young enough, that it's magical. So anyways, that story was really nice. And then there was another where like a teenage boy, I believe like teenage, he with special needs, and he had come up on stage and had I guess it was like we found out it was his birthday, and we were like, "Oh, happy birthday." And so we have him take a picture, and as we're doing this, we start singing happy birthday to him. And the way that we do the Emerald City show, and everybody who has watched the show gets in line to do the pictures, and then the next crowd files in. So everybody's always in the Emerald City. The entire Emerald City starts singing happy birthday to this boy awesome. As he's on stage. And it was just like, you could tell like he was so excited. He's with the cast, and then this entire building is like singing happy birthday to him on stage with, I don't know, it's like very like, I was like, oh, that's so beautiful.
I mean, I'd be like, okay, there's 1,000 people in the audience, and then every thing in sequence, I can understand why people get emotional. I mean, that's a very nice memory. So so you'd say those are your two favorite?
Yeah, those are my two favorites. There's this one girl who comes every single year with her mom. And she is huge fan. And Joe, one of our lions, is one of the kindest people I know. Like, he is really, truly an amazing person.
Do you see the guy in the commercial that's like, Dorothy? Is that?
He might be. I can't remember who said that.
The way he said it, Steph, was great.
It probably might be him.
He had the deep, like, lion's voice, and I didn't mean to laugh at Joe, but like when it transitions from black and white to color, he's like, Dorothy, so nice to see you. And I'm like, I was on the floor dying. It was great.
Joe has been our lion. Like, he was my lion when I came as a guest. And so, like, I just love him. He's such a good lion. He is so on character. He's amazing. Also avid fan. And I could go on, but he had the characters sign a poster for her and gave her, I believe her favorite character is the Scarecrow. And so he put together like a basket for her. And I don't remember if it was like her birthday or something. And so she came up on stage and he like made sure that he like coordinated with her mom what day and like what time, and to make sure that he was the person in the Emerald City. And so I got to be on stage when he did that. And that was like really touching. And it's just like when you are able to help make that experience not only come alive for somebody, but then like go that step further to make it so personal and like let them know, like, we love this story too. Let's share in it together. It's just kind of cool.
Those three, I gotta say, I mean, I wasn't trying to get emotional, but I was like, wow, if I was there, I would get emotional too. Like, those are three legendary stories. Yeah. Like, I've got a couple of fan interactions, but obviously the Land of Oz and you guys have got way more followers than I do. I'm actually doing I'm actually doing way better on my TikTok than I am on my YouTube channel. On my
TikTok, there you go. Your YouTube's big though.
Yeah, it's pretty big, but like I uploaded one video on my TikTok and it just blew up. So I went from like 700 followers, and it's the most stupidest video. I saw this epic sandcastle on a beach, and the family left, and I said, "Do you mind if I just take a video of that sandcastle?" Just giving credit where credit is due. I do a 360-degree pan. I'm like, this is a very cool sandcastle. The next day, I go from 700 fans to 8,000. So I've almost hit 9,000 on my TikTok. On my YouTube, on Fierce Man, I've almost hit 3,000, and then on the vlog, and then on the vlog channel, it's like 1,500 something.
That's awesome. More than I'll get.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it just takes that one video, and like that was the Lizzo video for Land of Oz.
Yeah, that one got a crap load of views.
We had 100 followers, and literally the next day we were like in the thousands. And then now, ever since, like we've had a few that have hit like 1 million. I think we have the one witches one, which is hysterical.
Sandcastle video hit like 1 million views.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my Lord.
You just never know, and I'm waiting for that to happen on my personal channel.
It'll happen, Steph.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'd say my 3 favorite fan interactions is I was at a convention, and it's on my wall right now, so I'll grab it.
Okay, there you
go. So I'm at a convention. This is the first fan interaction. He goes, "Fears, don't come by my booth until Sunday afternoon. I've got a present for you." And I went, well, I'm like, your booth is amazing. Don't come by until Sunday. I went, okay. So I come by Sunday, and he made me a painting of Fears Man.
Oh my God.
Well, let me grab it real quick. I'll show you.
Oh, that's so cute.
So not only did he do Fears Man, but he put me he put me in the photo too. So that's me hugging Fears Man. And I said, "You painted this?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm a big fan. I love your videos." He goes, "I've watched every single video of yours." I went, "That would take a long time because I make I make a lot of content, but I appreciate it." And he's like, "Can I have a hug?" And I'm like, "Sure, you can have a hug." So I gave him a hug. So that's probably my first like really big fan interaction.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's really cool. That's also really great painting. I cannot draw for absolute crap. So that is really I love that.
I was like taken back. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, dang.
So yeah. Cool. So that's the first fan interaction. Probably the second one would be anything and everything that my friend Visions has gave me. Like, I've bought a few things off of his channel, but he's such a great fan. I don't even consider him a fan anymore. I consider him like one of my best buddies, you know. He's gave me so much free stuff. And he's gave me shirts, pins, T-shirts, everything. And I'm actually going to go hang out with him next year.
Oh, so, dang. There you go.
So that'll be my first meeting of a fan, like face-to-face.
Oh, my gosh, fun.
I mean, I've met some fans at conventions, but that's going to be my first, like, I'm going to hang out with a fan. Yeah. And he's like, mi casa, su casa, Fears. You're going to stay at my house, and I'm going to stay for about a week.
I love that.
So I'm like, okay. And he lives right by all the Goonie locations. So I'm going to make a video of us going to check out all the Goonie locations.
That is awesome.
So that's why I was about to tell you before I ended the interview. I don't know if I'll get to the Land of Oz this year or next year because I told my friend Visions, I'm going to save a lot of money and we're going buck wild on that trip.
Yay!
I mean, like I said, I'll spend thousands of dollars when I'm in there. I'll go nuts. I'm like, and he's like, well, you don't have to spend too much, Fears. I'm like, I'm going ballistic.
Yeah.
So that would probably be my second. And then my third one, it happened at a convention, and a special needs. Well, he wasn't really special needs. His name is Matthew, and I think he's not really special needs, but he's like I don't want to say slow, but like it just takes him a minute on things. You know what I'm saying? And he said, I was at a toy convention. He said, Fears, I love your videos because I know you're a big fan of Ghostbusters. He goes, you probably already have it in your collection, but I went to a thrift store and I bought you Ghostbuster 1 and Ghostbuster 2 on VHS. Here you go. And I went, thank you so much. I'm like, I already have those in my collection, but you know what? There's never enough Ghostbusters. I'll put them on the shelf with my other one. So I'd say those are my three favorite.
Nice. Yeah. I love like any sort of person who is involved enough to create something and like passionate about what you do too, to create something for you is like extremely, I mean, that to me would be super emotional.
Like I was overwhelmed when I got that painting. I called Randall up and I said, Randall, I said, you're not going to believe me. So I'll just show you. I said, I said, the evidence is, the bread and butter. And he goes, you painted that, right, Fears? I said, no. I said, I'm horrible at painting. I said, I liked it. I said, I like to paint, but I said, I'm not a good painter. But I said, a fan made this for me.
That's so nice. I love that.
I said, you just making the cartoons is enough for me, Randall. But I said, for a fan to paint me a portrait and for like Visions to make an official like Fears.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was like, when he made that, you'll see the video at some point. I jump out of this chair. I go freaking ballistic. I'm like, Visions, you're the man. You're the man. I mean, I was going out of my mind. I love that. It was insane. So, like I said, those three, but I'm definitely going to get to Autumn of Oz at some point.
Definitely.
Maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 years. Definitely, probably after the Visions trip, I'll come down.
Yes, you definitely should.
That's going to be a big trip because I have another friend that lives in North Carolina.
Oh, there you go.
So I thought whenever I come down, I'll hang out with him for a little bit and I'll do the Autumn of Oz. So perfect. I don't know if I'll get to all three shows, but I'll get to one show. So the minute I come down, I'll be like, oh, hey, Steph, long time no see.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we're definitely going to keep in touch. So if you ever want to do another collab video, I'd love to have you in a vlog. So, awesome. So if you and Ben want to come down and hang out, we'll vlog it up. We'll go to Disney, whatever. So I was like, Steph's so cool. I'm like, I'm honored to be your friend. So if you ever want to be in a vlog, let me know.
Sweet deal. We'll know who to hit up.
Oh, speaking of Pixel, there it is. Follow the Fears Brick Road. That's right, Pixel. Well, Pixel meet Steph. Steph meet Pixel. There it is. So that's my friend that lives in North Carolina.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I don't know exactly where he lives in North Carolina, but he said he's heard of your guys's. Like when I first found out, we thought it was abandoned too.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, Pixel, when I come to see you, we had a master plan ready to go. I was like, I don't care who it is, but I said, I'm going to sneak in and I'm going to get a photo on the Yellow Brick Road and then we're going to sneak out. And that would probably never happen because there's probably security there. Yeah. But the Pixel's like, we'll do it, Fears. We'll find a way. And I'm like, we will. I'm like, we'll find a way. Now that I've heard the backstory, that would be probably a horrible decision.
Well, yeah, we have like a pretty tight security on it now because so many people have tried to break in or whatever. And so we have like, we do have full-time security up there physically, like somebody who lives up there. Nice. And then we also have obviously cameras and everything that we can see if somebody's trying, and like alarms. So it is really hard. And I will say,
Visions
don't advise it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Visions came back and said, Fears, if you try to sneak in there, Steph would tackle you. She probably would. She probably would.
Well, I will say like I definitely don't want to be in trouble with with the gal who lives up there. Let's put it that way. Or I know her, the family that lives up there, let's just say you don't want to get on their bad side.
I'm going to stay on their good side. So pixel that master plan that we had, X-nay that.
Yep, cancel that.
Yeah. But no.
There was one time where I was like, I really want to walk the park at night, but and so I was with my director, and so he texted the family, and was like, hey, we're just going to walk the park at night, see what it looks like, whatever. She came up with this master plan and scared me as I was coming up to the other side. And I was like, oh, she's like, what are you doing here? You know, you're not supposed to be here. Like, blah, blah. And I was almost in tears. I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought we texted you. Like, blah, blah.
Oh, so she was doing some acting too.
Yeah.
Nice.
I bet
she came out of character. You're like, oh, I don't know her name, but you were probably like, oh, thanks a lot. Way to get the tears flowing.
I was like, I'm so sorry. I just like, blah, 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 blah. And Sean was like, haha, got you.
Oh, man. Well, listen, Pixel and Visions have definitely pulled a couple of fast ones on me over the years. Oh, yeah.
I bet.
Because I don't try to be gullible, but like, they're great actors. Though, like, oh, Fierce, you got to hear about this epic story. And I'm listening, and it's such a great story, Steph. I'll get into it, and then they're like, hey, Fierce, guess what? Good news. Yeah, I was just totally joking around. That never happened. And I'm like, oh, you guys are dicks. And so I'll listen to the story for like 15 minutes, and then Fierce, we're just joking around.
Yeah, no, just pulling your leg. I'm like,
oh man, come on, dude. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
But my next question is what's next for the Autumn of Oz? What's next for the park? What's next for you? What's all the new things coming?
Well, most of the new stuff I can't talk about yet.
Okay, I was like, maybe she can't talk about it.
Yes. So most of the new stuff I can't talk about just yet. A lot of it, as I said, like still in the works. And like, even though the event's around the corner, it's just like, it just takes time for all this stuff to come into play. So, I think we'll just have to kind of see what this year brings, but I'm definitely excited for just the park to kind of just some of the park's history to hopefully come more to light, which would be really fun, because I think that is such like an important part. The people who really brought the park to life in the 70s are just, deserve a lot of credit for everything.
A lot of those people that created it in the 70s, are they still involved with the new aspects of the park?
Not really. The way that we have the best way to tie them in or tie the 70s in that we found is by bringing the actors back.
No, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So a lot of the Dorothys from the 70s have come back as Glindas.
Nice.
Most of the Glindas are from Dorothy's from the 70s. I believe all of them were last year.
I forgot to tell you this. In the big professional video at the end, we have the witch. Whoever that witch is, she's got the best laugh of all, or not laugh, the best like ha 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 like of all time. It was scary. Not really scary, but I was like, she knows how to play the witch. She knows how to do the evil laugh. That is on point, man.
All of our witches are so phenomenal. Actually, Walter is one of our witches. The one I was telling I was telling you about before. He started like 2 years ago, and he's so freaking good. I mean, all of our witches are just amazing. But most of the Glindas are Dorothys from the 70s. Some of the Dorothys from the 70s daughters are Dorothys now.
Oh, cool. That's very cool.
Or have been, which is really, just really cool. So
do some of the 70s characters play I forgot the cratchety old lady before she transforms.
Miss Gulch.
Miss Gulch, yeah.
I don't know. We might have had them. Some of them used to play Auntie M a few times, like back in the day. So we do, like, maybe, I'm not sure about Miss Gulch, but I know that one of them had played Auntie M for a few years. Mm-hmm. One of the Dorothys from the 70s was my Auntie M. And picture when I went as a guest. She's my Auntie M. So that was pretty cool. And one of the Dorothys that I was my Dorothy from when I went as a guest. I got to be Dorothy with her the next year. So that was really cool.
So I know you can't talk about the future of the park, but I know you can talk about yourself. So what's in the future for Steph? What's the next step?
That's a great question.
What's next for you?
I think for me right now, the biggest thing, where to begin? Honestly, focusing a lot more on my content, kind of what you've alluded to. I mean, you've seen some of it. It's not really, I've really just started to do more of it. I've just really started to build up my collection.
Yes.
So I think kind of the next is to bring Harry Potter, Star Wars stuff into that too. So I think for me is to focus more on really bringing my collection to light, and also just working more on my content, doing my OzFit, doing more Dorothy stuff on my personal channel or my personal page. That's a little bit more off the cuff, if you will. Mm-hmm. So things that, like, you know, as much as I want to, obviously I'm going to film stuff for Land of Oz and stuff, but during the off time, you know, what are stuff that I wouldn't be able to post on Land of Oz that I could post for myself?
Get that content flowing. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think really just focusing more on content is.
Well, I'm excited because I like both contents. Now that we're friends, I can't wait to see what you produce. So yeah.
Thanks. Me too. We'll find out.
Randall even said, he goes, "Do you think she'd want to do a voiceover in Fears Man?" I said, "I will ask her." I said, "So if you ever want to do a voiceover as a character in Fears Man, I will think of a part for you." And because I try to get a lot of my fans in there.
Oh, fun!
So a few fans have played some villains. A few played like just background characters, because we record it, and then the hardest thing about the cartoons is Randall has to draw every single cartoon drawing. Sometimes it takes months on end to do like a 10-minute show.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like we're just about to finish Fears Man 5, the episode.
Yes.
So, but watch them in order. I'd say the first one took the longest. The first one took almost a year because it was 20 minutes. Fears Man episode.
Also, it's the first time you're doing, you know, something full force. Like, it's going to take a minute to get everything together, you know?
So recently I've been talking with Randall. I said, "Randall, I would rather cartoons be shorter so we can bust out more." So like a 3-minute video, a 2-minute adventure of Fears Man, a 5-minute one. So yeah. So now that we're friends, I was like, I will ask Steph, because we've been getting along so well. I told you this before. I was nervous. I was like, well, she doesn't know me. I'm like, I hope we get along because I've admired you for about a year or two now. And I was like, I would love to be her friend. And I was like, I hope we get along great, because you never know when you meet someone, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, as soon as we started, I'd say within the first hour, I was like, I'll get along with Steph forever. I'm like, she's got such a goofy, great personality, just like I do. So
yeah,
I cannot wait to keep in touch, and whatever content you and me make in the future, I can't wait.
Sweet. I love it. I'm in.
So I got 3 more questions, and then I have to end it because I work the night shift, so I have to get some sleep later.
Yes.
So, but I was like, we're gonna go for a little while. I got 3 last questions, and then before I go, I'll show you my cups, and then I'll show you the props, and then we'll end it.
Perfect.
Because I'm a man of my word. So the third to the last question is best memorabilia that you've ever bought. It doesn't have to be Dorothy, just any. And this is a scripted one because I want to know, because I saw your collection video and I was like, I got to ask her about her collection. So what's the best memorabilia, Star Wars, Harry Potter, whatever? What's your favorite memorabilia thing that you've ever bought ever?
I would say okay. The best, one of my favorite pieces is this Land of Oz cup.
Okay, let me zoom in real quick and have a look.
Oh, so this is from the 70s, and my roommate was on tour, and he found this at a random thrift shop, and he saw it and was like, "Wait, that's like Steph's Land of Oz." And so this is actual 70s merch, which is really cool. So anything that is very like Land of Oz 70s specific is like probably my favorite, but that's the only thing I have from the 70s.
Okay.
And then it's a toss up between, I would say, I have 3 different jackets that are my favorite.
Okay.
I have this one from the the 50th, has of course Toto fluff on it. The 50th anniversary jacket. I love this one.
Okay. Now I haven't seen this one. I've seen the black one, but this is new to me. I haven't seen this one.
Yes, this one, if you go, I post a lot in Dorothy on this one because this is the jacket I've had the longest. I was given this jacket from somebody whose mom, it's from the MGM collection. And she gave it to me because she was like, it's just collecting dust in my room, in my closet, and I know you'll use it. And literally, if there was a surge on if anybody's watching this and they're like, what the heck is a surge on eBay last year about these jackets? I got at least 6 people last year in our cast to buy the same exact jacket.
Nice. That's
and
awesome.
There's a picture of all 4 of us wearing it. And there's 2 other people who like, they hadn't come in yet. So I was like, dang, yeah.
I actually had to change my mind because I thought I hadn't seen it. I've seen all 4 of you guys. Your backs are turned. I've seen it. I've seen that one. Yeah.
That one, or I also have either of these 2. Sorry, you're like, what's your favorite? And I'm like, so my whole wardrobe.
No, it's all right. I've seen this one. This is the one where you did the video on.
This one is my new favorite.
Yeah, that's the video one where you were modeling it. That's the one. Yes.
Yeah. And it has this on the back. My favorite part about this is that it's reversible.
Oh, that's cool.
On the other side, it just has this on the pocket, and it's this material the whole way. So
it reminds me of like a high school Letterman jacket.
Yeah. Which I love.
Well, I still have my Letterman jacket from way back in the day.
Yeah. Well, this is mine.
That's awesome.
So, and she was a recent eBay purchase, so that was fun. And then my other, probably this used to be my favorite for a minute last year, is the only leather jacket I own is this one. And it is a Wizard of Oz. It's from the Dolls Kill collection.
Okay.
It came out like 2 years ago, and it has this on the front. It has Dorothy in the poppy fields on the inside.
Okay.
And then the 4 characters on the back. So cool.
That's pretty cool.
So this is my favorite stuff right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll change.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I add to the collection all the time, so the fans know my collection changes all the time.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. Maybe this. You know what, guys? I'll let you know in a week.
And I would say Toto, my cat, is probably my actual favorite of my collection.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Even though he's my pet and not a collecting item, but
yeah. Well, he gets the most hangout time with Steph.
Yes, he's the best. He's sitting on my bed right now. He's chilling.
Nice.
But so yeah, I would say those are my favorites. My hats I don't know. I probably have stuff at home from my childhood collection that is like probably more traditional collection items.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think.
Out of the 3 that you showed me, my all-time favorite is that glass from the 70s. That's pretty dope. That
one's cool. I really want to get more 70s stuff from the Land of Oz, but it's really hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably like the worst part is that it's like you really have to find it at like an antique store. But it's definitely my favorite items that we can find.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I always ask this question to all my interviews. I've done a couple of I don't know if you saw my celebrity interviews. I've done those at conventions. So whenever you dig deep on Fears Man, that's on there. I've always tried to ask them this question. It's just a fun, goofy question. Sometimes I've remembered, sometimes I haven't. If money was no object and you could plan your ultimate vacation, like, hey, before I die, sky's the limit. I can spend as much money as I want. What vacation would it be? Where would you go and what would you do?
So my dream vacation would be to climb to the base camp of Mount Everest.
Nice.
I got really into like the like just the climb, like watching the climbing documentaries for a minute. And so climbing to the base camp of Everest and then going to Greece.
Nice.
So that's my like dream vacation.
Well, if money was no object, just combine them. Be like, hey Ben, we're gonna start with rock climbing, and then we'll end with a week in Greece.
Exactly. Yes, 100%.
Nice. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I think that would be mine.
I would say my ultimate. I have two. I can't pick between these two, and my fans hate it when I do that. Like Randall's like, John, don't give me the typical John Fears answer. I can't pick between this. Randall's like, pick. So it's hard for me to pick between these two.
Yeah, I get that.
I always, before I die, I have to see it. My mom and dad got to see it before my dad passed away. I've always wanted to see Stonehenge in England.
Yes, that was my biggest regret. I was in England and I never went to Stonehenge.
So before I die, even though my British family lives there, I've been over the course of my life, because my mom's from England, I've been 25 times to England. Every time I go, though, we always see something new.
Yeah.
And my mom showed me her old house. She showed me her old school. I've seen tons. I've almost seen every castle in England. Just about.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And you never Stonehenge?
Never. We never got my mom and dad got around to it. They did like a second honeymoon, and that's what they did on their honeymoon. And I think they did that when I was in film school, when I was in college. So before I die, I would love to do like not just England. I would love, before I die, one of the ultimate vacations would be start in England and do the Stonehenge, but then go to every European country. So that's one of my dream vacations.
That is cool.
And then the second one, I love Jurassic Park. I've told the fans I've always wanted to go to the Hawaiian Islands.
Yeah, have you ever been?
No, I've never have. I got the shirts for it though, so I'll be packed, ready to go. So either I'll go whenever I get a wife or with some friends, or I'll go by myself. I don't care. I'll go by myself. And I want to check out all of the Jurassic Park movie locations.
Yes, actually, my parents did a trip there, and my sister lived there for a little bit as a nurse. And so my parents went and visited her, and they did, for Mother's Day, we all pitched in and got my mom like a helicopter tour of whatever they were. And I believe that to this day is like one of my parents, like they all came out of the helicopter, like emotional crying, because it was like such a great, amazing tour. I guess. I don't know. I was like, of course I wasn't there, but
yeah,
but I guess they went over some of the Jurassic Park, like scenery or wherever they filmed it. And
they saw the epic rocks, when the helicopter flies in.
Yeah.
That was probably part of it.
Yeah. And so apparently my parents were like, that is one of the most amazing things they've ever seen. It was like one of the most moving tours they've ever been on. And so if you ever do get to go, definitely look to see if you're able to do something like that, because I think you'll love it.
It's when.
Yes, when.
I don't care how much it takes. If it takes me 100,000 paychecks, I'll get there one day, man.
Yeah, 100%.
And Vision's like, he's like, really, Fears, when you come, you want to recreate some scenes from Goonies? I'm like, oh yeah, Vision, that's happening. Yeah. So I've got some props. So I said, I'm going to bring some props. Vision's like, really, Fears, you want to be a nerd and like recreate the one where Mikey's holding up the medallion? And I'm like, I think I got a match. I'm sure of it. The lighthouse, and the rock all fit the doubloon. I'm like, we're doing it, Visions, whether you like it or not. It's happening. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've seen the Goonies.
There it is. Movie night with Ben. Goonies.
I know. I'm like, I have so many movies now.
Over there, I've got two shelves. One's a shelf of nothing but TV shows. Another one's Blu-rays. And then on the floor, I do these like weekly hauls where I go to thrift stores and I'll buy a haul. I'll buy a haul of like collector's items, props, figures, whatever, movies, and then I'll show them on my stream. So when you dig deep more into the live streams and the vlogs and my short films, you'll see the hauls.
Yay!
I hope to see in the comment sections, writing. But yeah, so all that stuff is great.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, the last question. Here we go.
Yeah.
I hope you've seen this show because you'll understand. Have you ever seen Inside the Actors Studio with James Lipton? You haven't?
I mean,
right. It's basically a show where the main guy, there's a guy, he's kind of a bald guy, he's got glasses, and he interviews actors about their career, and he always ends the show with doing a questionnaire. It's like, what's your favorite word? What's your least favorite word? What's your favorite sound? What's your favorite noise? So I try to, sometimes I forget to do it.
I love this.
I sometimes forget to do it with all the actors and all the people that I interview, but I was like, I remembered, I wrote it down last time. Like, do the questionnaire with Steph.
Yes. Okay.
So it's a perfect way to end the interview. So, so question 1, what's your favorite word?
Ooh, Dorothy.
Okay. What's your least favorite word?
What is my least favorite word? I'm literally looking at my cat right now, as if he could help me answer.
Toto's like, you're on your own. You're on your own.
Yeah. My least favorite word. I mean,
Toto's like, Steph, leave me alone. I'm trying to catch a nap over here.
Yeah, literally. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't really.
We'll come back to it. So my favorite word is energy because I've got a lot. I've got a lot of energy. Because of my ADD, I always tell my fans I just take all that raw energy and put it into all my passions and dreams and my content. So I turn a negative into a positive.
Yes, I love that.
My least favorite word is probably everyone's no.
No.
No, because it sucks because you're like, well.
Yeah, you're like, damn, dude.
I want it. No. Okay. All right. So
all right.
We'll come back to your least favorite word. The next question on the questionnaire: what's your favorite noise? Ooh. Or noise? What your favorite noise or sound?
Toto's meow. I love when he meows. He's so cute. I'm like obsessed with my cat. If you can't.
I have a couple of favorite sounds, but one of my favorites is either when I crack my neck myself or when I go to a chiropractor and he like breaks my back and I have 90 million pops. It feels
and you're like, ooh, that's nice.
So that's one of my favorite sounds. And then what's your least favorite sound?
I hate loud noises. Like anything that's like super loud and I live right by a highway. So it's like any loud car that is like over the top or like something that's like would scare me and is like abruptly loud. I hate loud noises.
Visions is making me laugh. He goes, good joke, Fierce. The last question is actually 10 questions. Well, Visions, I have to do it how they do the questionnaire on the show. So we're getting towards the end, Visions, but he's a funny guy. I'd say my least favorite, it's the same. It happened in college and it happens in my apartment complex all the time. Early in the morning, if I'm sleeping, I'm not making fun of these people's jobs. They'll come in and they do the maintenance they'll trim the hedges, they'll mow the lawns, and the fucking leaf blowers are going at like 7, 8 in the morning. And I get so annoyed. I've never yelled at those people, but in my apartment, I'm like, shut the fuck up. I need to go to sleep.
I feel that. That's like me with the cars on in the highway. And it's like, these people don't know, like they're, it's like someone's hobby. It's what they like. It's their interest. Or, I mean, in your case, it's like, they're just trying to do their job,
That's why I just get mad at the noise. I don't get mad at the people. I'm like, they're trying to make a living, but I kind of want to go back to sleep. I need my sleep.
I get
it. My shift, I always work from about 2 or 3 in the morning all the way to like 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
When I work at the FedEx, so it's good money, and I actually prefer the late shift because you make more.
Yeah, I can see that.
You make more money on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Next one on the questionnaire: what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I mean, I say this because I still feel, I am attempting as we speak, probably an actress of some sort.
Okay. All right. What profession would you absolutely not like to attempt in?
Well, I would say sales because I used to be in sales and I don't want to go back to that.
I understand. I've been in sales. It sucks. So
I was in tech sales for a very long time.
So if I could pick any profession, I'm attempting to do it now, but if I could do it like on a big professional level, I would love to either write books or be a writer or be an official like editor, like, you know, like editing a movie or something like that.
I love that.
A profession that I would absolutely not like to attempt because it freaks me the hell out. A mortician or anything to do with anything to do with a funeral. I'm like,
I take it back.
I was like, I don't, and they make tons of money stuff, but I'm like, good for you. You wouldn't pay me enough money to do that profession at all.
Yeah, I get that.
All right. There's two last in the questionnaire. I'm not making this up. He always asks this. What's your favorite curse word? He always asks the actors that.
Probably the F word, fuck, because it's versatile. You can always fucking say it. It's great. I also, in my normal life, I curse a lot.
So do I. You'll find out.
My parents never see this.
You'll find out, Steph, when you watch my short film and you watch my lives.
Yes.
Me and Vision.
Dorothy doesn't say those words, so.
Yeah, exactly. But see, Steph can say it.
I know. Woo.
John can say it. Fears Man can't say it.
Yeah, I know, right?
But John can say it. My favorite is son of a bitch. That's mine.
Yeah. Oh, I do like bitch too, because that one is a little bit more friendly. Like you can be like, hey bitch, what's going on? Like, you know, you can be more charismatic with it.
Yeah.
So I like that one too.
All right. And the last questionnaire question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God tell you at the pearly gates?
You get to meet Judy Garland.
Sweet. Mine, it's half awesome and half of a joke because, like you said, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Nothing crazy, but like when I was when I was young, I didn't listen to anything. And now that I'm older, I'm like, man, I wish I would have listened more. So I've told the fans this. I wish I could go and talk to my younger self and be like, Fears, you're an idiot. Like, listen to people, calm down, don't be so mad. I've totally changed. Now I'm the most happiest go lucky guy ever. I love content, the whole 9 yards. So I would love to hear God just look at me and go, boy, Fears, do we have a lot to talk about? I just think that would be funny if he said that.
Yes.
He cracks open a beer and go, I need to be drunk for this, Fears. Let's crack open the beer. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Let's hash it out. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, Steph, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure. And guys, this will not be Steph's last time on the podcast. I'll get you back on here. We'll talk more movies. We're going to do some more collab videos. Definitely keep in touch. Add me on Facebook.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much for having me on here. I had a blast and loved getting to know more about you. So thank you.
Before we go, I'm going to show you my mugs, my nerd mugs. All right. So there's some up here. So that's the start. That's the start of it. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
All right. And then I'm literally running out of space, Steph. All these.
Yes. That's our cupboard downstairs. Very similar. Yes. Oh my gosh, the top row. Yes. I love that.
The Mandalorian. I got Clark Griswold. I got Mickey, Stormtrooper. Oh, this is one of Vision's cups. No sleep because I'm always not sleeping. I'm always working on content.
I bet.
All right. And here's my movie props. All right. Here we go.
Okay. Wait. Yoda or Baby Yoda?
Both. I like both. But if I had to pick, Yoda.
Yeah. I mean, you got to pick Yoda. I get that.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, Baby Yoda's so cute.
I know he is. All right. Check out all these props.
Oh, cool.
So we got
bar. I love that.
We got some ones. We got Jurassic Park, the Holy Grail from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yes.
The green crystal from Superman, his hockey mask, Wonka, all my Ghostbuster stuff down there.
Oh dang.
Oh yeah.
I love that. That's sweet.
This one's probably one of my favorites, Steph.
Oh.
Like the stab stuff from the
Scream.
From Scream, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
What's your favorite out of my whole collection?
I don't know. That's a tough call because I mean the Wonka bar caught my eye the most just because I think I didn't expect that. And also people confuse Oz and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory all the time, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Jurassic Park is cool. That was my brother's favorite movie, Jurassic Park.
Oh, very cool.
And The Mask, obviously The Mask. You gotta love it.
Yes. Awesome.
Dang, I love it.
Well, before we go, I'm going to give you a chance to tell the fans where can they find Steph? Like, plug all your social medias.
So I actually just changed in the effort to make more content. I am officially Yellow Brick Yogi on.
I saw that. I got a giggle out of it. I thought that's a cool name.
Well, so it's funny because this happened, I think, like 2 days ago, literally. And I was like telling Ben, I'm like, all right, I'm going to change my stuff to Oz Yogi. And he's like, really? And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, Wizard of Oz and yoga and, and he's like, I mean, there's got to be something more. Like, and I was like, kind of bummed because I was like, I thought that was great. And then we found Yellow Brick Yogi and I was like, that is it. Perfect. So
it's a mixture of both your worlds. You love yoga.
Yeah.
You love Oz.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I don't change. Like YouTube, if I had my way, I would have called like Fears Vlogs just Fears Man. But they don't allow you if you have one channel, if you have 2 channels, they can't be similar. So most of my social media, like my TikTok, my Instagram, my Twitter, all of that is at FearsMan26.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why it's that in a second before I let you go. So I had to pick. So people were getting confused. So I created FearsMan26 in college. And I just picked something simple. I went, okay, I'm creating my YouTube channel when I'm 26. Now I'm 39. So I said, that's where the 26 comes from. Back in the day, you had to pick a number. YouTube would make you put a number in it for some odd reason. I don't know why. Eventually, after a couple of years, they wrote me an email and said, if you just want to change it to Fears Man. I said, well, now all my fans know me as Fears Man 26. So I'm going to rock it until I die. Fears Man.
There you go. You're 26 forever. Damn.
So then my fans were getting confused. And so they're like, is it a vlog channel? Is it not a vlog channel? I said, all right. I said, I'm going to make it easy for you guys. I said, all my best edited projects and all that go on Fears Man 26.
Okay.
I'll make a vlog channel. And then it's now it's mixed with podcasts and vlogs. And I created that 2014.
Okay.
So, and then the Fears Man comes from half of my character. And then I ran so fast on the track team in high school. My coach came up to me and said, Fears, like, I need to give you a nickname. Like, you run so fast. He goes, man, too bad Superman is like picked. I'm like, you can call me Superman if you want. He goes, no. He goes, give me a week. I'll think of something. And he actually came up with Fears Man.
Oh, really?
And then I was like, it took you a week to do that? I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then I said, what's kind of funny, coach, that you say that? I'm like, I have a cartoon character that I've been working on since I was 6. And he went, well, he goes, you've told me about it. That's why I picked that. And
yeah. Cute.
I was like, that's cool, buddy. So anyway, so everything's at Yellow Brick Road Yogi.
Yes, that's my TikTok and Instagram. My Facebook is just Steph Twomey, my first last name. But Yellow Brick Yogi is everything else. So
I wanted to make sure. Hopefully I pronounced your last name.
Yeah,
I was like, I think this is how you pronounce it, but I'm like, hopefully I don't mess it up. So yeah.
Well, and it's funny because people never understood my Instagram name before because it was Steph, the number 2, me. Mm-hmm. And then when you said my last name, I was like, oh no, I haven't told him how to pronounce it. And you were like, right off the bat, pronounced it right. And now I realized my Instagram was Steph Twomey as of 2 days ago. So
yeah, I noticed that it like flipped over and I was like, oh sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask her about it.
I just redid all of my stuff to Yellow Brick Yogi.
I like that. I mean, I like both. I like both their names, but the Yellow Brick Yogi's got more of a flow to it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mouthful when I say it, but I'm like, I like it. I'm into it. It's better than I thought. Oz Yogi was like hit out of the park, and Ben was like, I just like it needs a little bit more. And I was like,
you know what? I like both. I'm being honest. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like when you said that one, and then you said your new one, I'm like, to me, I don't really care that they both sound good to me.
I took a poll with the roommates, and the roommates chose Yellow Brick Yogi. So
okay, cool. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Visions is right. These 3 hours have flown by.
I know they have. Thank you. And thank you, Visions, for tuning in for the whole time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, he's here always. I
love it.
Very rarely does he miss a show. So yeah,
the loyal likers, the loyal fans.
Oh yes, I will say this: I've got more loyal fans than haters. So I
know
I love all of my loving and loyal fans. They're the best people in the world.
They are.
Yes. Well, Steph, I appreciate. I'm gonna let you go, but don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to this lovely lady. Subscribe to Fears. This won't be our last hangout, Steph. Like I said, mi casa, su casa. You and Ben are always welcome to come down. I'll get you guys both in a vlog. We'll go nuts.
Sweet.
And we'll work on some future projects. I'm very excited.
I know. I love it. Well, thank you so much for having me, and appreciate everything that you brought to the table. So thank you.
No worries. Hopefully it was a good interview.
Yes, it was awesome. I appreciate it. It was great.
All right, guys. Well, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And this is Fears. And this is
Steph Twomey, Yellow Brick Yogi.
And we will see you guys later.